Carabao Cup final and the Time Wear Derby as well. And also, is it a shame the game was not able to police itself when it comes to tailgating? And is the modern day coach now just as performative as their players? Loads to get into. It's talkSPORT, it's Friday, it's Sam Matterface, it's Alex Crook and Gabby Agbonlahor. OK, we better get to Faye Carruthers, who's at Wembley with the announcement of the England squad. And we better give her as much time as possible, Faye, because you've got a lot of names to get through.
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, we thought it was going to be an extended squad, but I wasn't expecting 35 players to be named by Thomas Tuchel for these two friendlies. But it feels very kind of long list pre-tournament. And don't forget, there are still players to come back from injury additionally. Let me go through it all for you. 5 goalkeepers named. Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Jason Steele gets his first call-up. Brighton keeper, of course, and James Trafford as well, which means there's no place for Nick Pope, having fallen out of favour at Newcastle. In terms of defence, Dan Burn keeps his place. Mark Gahey comes back, having been out injured for the last camp. Lewis Hall, as we've been reporting on talkSPORT, is in the squad, as is Ezri Konsa, Tino Livramento. Harry Maguire makes his long-awaited return after some great form for Manchester United. Nico O'Reilly is in, Jarell Quansah as well. Jed Spence, who I wasn't sure whether would make it because of a very tough season for him at Spurs currently, but he's keeps his place. John Stones is in, and Fikayo Tomori comes back in, having not played for England since October 2023. In terms of the midfielders, Elliot Anderson is in. He's pretty much cemented his place in this squad, surely bar injury. Jude Bellingham, despite being out for Real Madrid since the 1st of February, is in the squad. James Garner gets his first call-up. We were mentioning that that was a talkSPORT exclusive earlier on today. Fascinating that the Everton man is in. He can play right back as well, but he's named as a midfielder. Jordan Henderson, Kobbie Mainoo comes back into the squad as well after some great form for Manchester United. Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers and Adam Wharton as well. And in terms of forwards, Jared Bowen is in, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as we've been reporting here on talkSPORT, Eberichi Eze, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Noni Madueke, Cole Palmer is back after injury, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, and Dominic Solanke returns after injury. So that means there's no place for Ollie Watkins either. The two backup strikers, direct replacements, if you like, for Harry Kane are Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Dominic Solanke. 35 players Thomas Tuchel has named, so it's going to be fascinating to see what he decides to do for these two friendlies against Japan and Uruguay.
Which it means, by looking at the squad, basically 35 if you're English and you're playing in the Premier League or beyond. You probably should be in this squad if you've got to have any hope of being at the World Cup, which means Trent Alexander-Arnold and Ollie Watkins do not.
Or Luke Shaw as well. You know, bearing in mind the troubles that England have had at left back, it seems very much as if Thomas Tuchel has decided that his alternative options, of course we know that Reece James can play over there if he needs to, Nico O'Reilly's played there in the last couple of games, and Lewis Hall comes in this time round. He thinks that there are enough options, obviously bar injury, and we know that Reece James can be injury prone, but that Trent Alexander-Arnold one is really key, because we know why he's not been called up to the squads of late, because he's been inconsistent, had injury, not really had a run of games for Real Madrid since signing for them. However, he has played himself back into the England squad, you would arguably say, and it's really interesting that he's not been called up for this squad, because, as you say, that very much seems as if, you know, possibly game over. And I have spoken to Thomas Tuchel about Trent Alexander-Arnold before, and he's full of praise for him. Really enjoys the way he plays, really enjoys his attitude, what he can do for England, the fact that he can drift into midfield additionally. But for some reason he hasn't called him up, so I'll be asking him that when I sit down with him after the press conference, which is 11 o'clock this morning.
Faye, what do you think the thinking is with Thomas Tuchel naming such a big England squad? Because obviously he's spoken a lot about the atmosphere around the camp. Is it risky to put so many players in that he's not used before at such a late stage, so close to the World Cup, do you think?
I don't think it's risky. I think it's smart in many ways, because we know what the end of the season can do in terms of injuries. We know if there are key injuries to big players, that actually there are players that will need to come in, and if they haven't ingratiated themselves within the group yet, then that is more dangerous, I would say, because we actually have seen that before with players brought in on the eve of a tournament, and it hasn't necessarily worked. So I think it is smart in many ways. Also, if you think about it, he's pretty much cemented. We know he knows, probably at least 8 of the 11 starters. But you throw a little bit of injury in there, you throw a bit of dodgy form in there, and things can change very, very quickly. So what he needs to do is see if there are, and the midfield area is a key part of that. If you think about it, that the number of different players that he's brought in and tried out. Of course, Alex Scott misses out this time round of Bournemouth. He didn't get to play when he was brought into the squad last time, so he'll be able to see them in training. There are players who have 1 or 2 caps for England, but haven't really ever cemented a consistent place in the squad. So I think, why not in March, because he might need some of them in June, and if they don't have the right character on the training pitch, if they don't have the connections in and around the group, then it causes problems. The other side of it is also, in these friendlies, why not just experiment a bit? Why would you show your World Cup opponents exactly what your team might look like once you get out to North America? So there could be a part of that as well, but also it's letting people know that they are in the frame. It's letting other people know who might have thought that they were in the frame, you still need to do a little bit more. He likes to send those messages out to people, Thomas Tuchel, and whether it's a positive message or a negative message to you, you hear it loud and clear.
Yeah, and I get those arguments, but he did say last year, or the suggestion was, is that March and June last year were the periods that he was going to use to get to know the players, to find out the players that he wanted, to experiment, to have a look at players in different positions, to try different formations. Andorra and Senegal were an example of where they experimented and it didn't go well. But he talked about September, October and November as the period where they would build and consolidate their squad to get ready to build that cohesive unit for the World Cup. By expanding the squad to 35 and leaving out Watkins, leaving out Scott, who's just been called into the squad, for example, by leaving out Trent Alexander-Arnold, are we saying now that he isn't as sure about the final 26 as maybe we thought he was 6 months ago?
Probably. But we also know that Thomas Tuchel can change his mind. I had a conversation with him back in October, November, where he said that he didn't think in his current system that Harry Kane, Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham would play on the pitch together, and then he played them on the pitch together. So, he's a head coach. He's constantly monitoring, watching, going to games, seeing what players can do. And, I don't care if he changes his mind on certain things if it works in that moment. I think that's his prerogative without a doubt, but I do understand the connection part. That is really key, because he does use that word a lot, and he has used it since he came in and was named England head coach, and I that is where I do question 35 players. How can you create that same cohesiveness? Equally, they do have some really key players within that leadership group who are very, very good at looking after the younger players and the new players coming in and creating that. Many of the players know each other from playing with each other at club football additionally, so maybe he thinks it is a risk worth taking.
Faye, I do agree with you in the sense that when I first heard that it was 35 players, I thought, what's going on here? He's calling anyone up, but I do get it that he's looking at maybe players that he hasn't brought into a squad before. How are they on the training pitch? How are they with their teammates? Have a good chat with them maybe about their form. Just because you've been called into this one, you could be still a million miles away from going to the World Cup. And it gives a message to maybe Ollie Watkins, to Trent, you're not doing enough, but you still got a chance. He might have spoken to them on the phone and saying, you still got a chance at the World Cup, but I need better performances from you.
Yeah, we know that he has that in him, Thomas Tuchel. He wants to get the best out of his players. He's a great man manager, but if he doesn't feel he's getting enough from you, he's going to tell you about it. So I wouldn't be that surprised if they are still very much in the frame, but have been told that they need to do more, and then he's going to see whether or not they really want it. How much do they want it? How much do they want to be on the plane? He knows what they can do because he's seen them within the group, although he hasn't called Trent up before, but he's seen Trent's performances, and he knows, a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold going from Liverpool and winning the Champions League and heading to Real Madrid is a very good player. So, it's whether or not he fits into the England side that Thomas Tuchel envisages is going to win the World Cup for England in just a few months' time. So, that is going to be really fascinating. But we know the character that he has, Thomas Tuchel. We followed him closely when he was at Chelsea, and he's not afraid to tell players to pull their socks off if he thinks that they need to.
Faye, talk to me about the goalkeepers. 5 of them in the squad. Jason Steele, who I know is a terrific character. I've had dealings with him down at Brighton. He's 35. He's not played a single minute in the Premier League this season. You've got Carl Rushworth, England under-21 international, the best goalkeeper in the Championship at Coventry. I know for a fact that Frank Lampard has held conversations with the England goalkeeper coach about Carl Rushworth. Surely that would be better if you're going to take 5 goalkeepers to plan for the future. Jason Steele is not going to be on the plane for the World Cup.
That one absolutely blindsided me, I'm not going to lie. Wasn't expecting it at all. And I presume he's coming in with almost a coaching capacity to him without giving him any disrespect. He's not played any minutes, as you say. So I wonder if there is something coaching related with that. Again, I'll sit down and ask Thomas exactly that. You have to really feel for Nick Pope, because he was called up to the last, he was called up to the last England squad in November, but then had concussion and wasn't able to join up. He's now effectively lost his place at Newcastle to Aaron Ramsdale. You would have thought that he could potentially call up both of the Newcastle goalkeepers if he wanted an older, more experienced head and somebody who's been to tournaments with England, which Nick Pope has. So, yes, that very much surprised me. I'd like to know the thinking around it. I think it's a very different scenario to Jordan Henderson, who a lot of people, quite disrespectfully actually thought was being brought in more of a coaching capacity. He's got a lot more to his game than that. So I don't want to be disrespectful to Jason Steele in the slightest, but it is a little bit of a strange one. You can understand James Trafford, because even though he's not really playing for Manchester City and things haven't really gone particularly well for him this season, you can understand, because he is one for the future, just not getting enough minutes at the moment. But 5 goalkeepers is very fascinating, and I will be asking him the thinking behind it.
Yeah, Fraser Forster, I think, is a bit disappointed that he didn't get called up as well, and Scott Carson possibly. 5 goalkeepers, unbelievable. Faye,
Peter Shilton just missed the cut.
we're going to let you get on with speaking to Thomas Tuchel and doing a little bit of investigation as to why that is. I almost felt when I first saw the squad list as if someone had published the depth chart that I did and forgot to actually take off the players that weren't in the squad. 35 is a huge number of players to manage. Why has he done it, Gabby?
I think he's done it because he's looking at some of the players that he might need. Like Faye said there's going to be injuries, there's going to be players that miss out, players that he's not called up before. Let me have a look at you. You know what? You're on the fringe, maybe Calvert-Lewin, Solanke. Let me have a look at you in training. Let me have a look at you, of your character, what you like around the squad. I think that's why he's done it, not because he wants to. He obviously can't play 35 players.
Would he have done it, Crook, if he hadn't signed a new 2-year contract and maybe needed these players for another 2.5 years?
What, Jason Steele?
Well, I'm thinking actually more about the likes of Jed Spence, Nico O'Reilly, people coming into the squad.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. You want to keep the young players.
Garner.
You want to keep the young players keen, but I think the squad's too big. I really do.
The Jason Steele one I don't get. He hasn't played in the Premier League since August 2024. He hasn't played any more than 5 games this season. It seems an odd one, doesn't it?
Listen, that's an odd one for me. Yeah, 5 keepers.
Great guy, by the way, Jason Steele.
He'll be good around the camp.
Why do you need 5 keepers? And also, Sam, in a lot of these squads, normally you might have an 11v11. A lot of 11v11s during trainings.
You can have 4
You've got 11v11, and you need a lot of space on the benches.
You can have like a round-robin tournament.
Yeah. You can have 12 round-robin games going at the same time. But the standout for me from this is How are you feeling if you're Trent?
Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins, I'm gutted for him.
I don't think you can argue
Gutted.
with the Watkins one, though, can you?
Well, you can argue with the Watkins one.
Calvert-Lewin and
You've got
Solanke are in
Solanke
better
in the
form.
squad, who hasn't played for the last couple of weeks.
Calvert-Lewin's dried up as
Phil
well. His
Foden.
goals.
But Solanke's
Phil
recent
Foden.
goal record, I think you pointed out
great.
to me the other day.
Yeah, it's very good. But he's been injured for the last couple of weeks, whereas Ollie Watkins is playing in the European.
And he's got
I think it's pretty
competition
clear,
in
and we suspected this anyway, he doesn't fancy Ollie Watkins.
Well, you and I just actually went back to a conversation that you and I had on, I think it was Tuesday morning. You said to me, what do you think about the idea of him calling up Dominic Calvert-Lewin? I said, honestly, I haven't looked at it deeply enough to give you a proper assessment, but my feeling is that he doesn't fancy Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, and I think you're right there. You know, the other takeaway for me, and obviously it's a massive squad, if it was a smaller squad, I don't think Phil Foden...
No chance. No chance.
Well, he's got to cut this by 9 players.
Yeah.
And 2 of those are going to be goalkeepers.
Yep.
So 7 outfield players have got to go from this squad. I think Jarell Quansah has come in after a good season at Leverkusen, and he'll be on the fringes. Fikayo Tomori was a little bit surprised, I must admit.
Yeah. But Stones is getting no game time. Are we gonna call up Stones? Great experience, great player, but if he's not playing when you've got Diaz and Gahey and Kushinov in front of him, is he one that you want going to a tournament? Rusty, not enough game time. But when you talk about strikers,
I can't believe that Stones is in the squad, bearing in mind he hasn't played any minutes. To be honest, I was looking at this earlier on, and actually I forgot that he was in the squad. 3 of the 8 qualifiers he started, but Stones has played 155 minutes of football since December the 2nd.
He's only had 7 Premier League appearances this season. So I just don't get why he's in the squad. And a lot of the players, mate, their clubs must be thinking, I'd rather them stay with us and like get themselves up to speed.
I mean, does this sort of show that he's not 100% sure on who he's going to take?
100%.
And that's why I think it's a problem. It just clouds a little bit of the judgment of the players. Am I in? You know, maybe he doesn't fancy me after all. I would have preferred a smaller squad.
Does he keep it honest, though? Does he keep them honest by doing that?
Maybe. Yeah, it can work both ways. I guess it depends what type of character you are. Interested to see Nico O'Reilly listed as a defender. Obviously, he's played his best football for England at left back, but he's a midfielder now at Manchester City, which is his preferred position. I reported yesterday that Jude Bellingham would be in the squad, even though I'm not sure he's going to be fit to play, because I think he just wants to reintegrate him into the camp and get him in the dressing room. So, listen, it's fascinating. It's thrown up plenty of talking points.
You know what, as well? I'm gutted for Watkins, but it's great news for Aston Villa because he knows now you've got 10 games, maybe 11 games now to go and show what you're made of, get your form back, get to the Ollie Watkins we've seen in previous years, and you've still got a chance. If he goes and starts banging the goals in again, which we know he can do, he goes on runs, he will be on that plane if he outperforms Solanke and Calvert-Lewin.
We're going to hear from Thomas Tuchel very shortly. He's been speaking to England's social media, and we'll hear from him and some of his reasoning as to why he's decided to pick such a big squad in just a second. The big headlines: Jason Steele in for a first ever call-up. No Nick Pope, despite the fact there are 5 goalkeepers selected in a 35-man squad. John Stones is in the squad. So is Harry Maguire, recalled after good performances with Manchester United. Fikayo Tomori of AC Milan is in the squad as well. James Garner called up for the first time as the Everton midfielder benefits from a good season with the Toffees. Adam Wharton is in the squad. Kobbie Mainoo returns. Jude Bellingham, despite not playing since February the 1st, is in the squad. That's just because I think they want him to be around the camp. As far as the forwards are concerned, there's quite a few, including the return of Dominic Solanke. Rashford is in there, obviously. Jared Bowen keeps his place. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets a call-up after his stellar season with Leeds United. But there is no place for Trent Alexander-Arnold or Ollie Watkins.
Are we that good? Are we that good that we can't have Trent in a 35-man squad? Are we, Sam?
03717 223344. Let's ask the listeners that. We'll do that in just a second. With Selco Builders Warehouse, check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
How have they gone from Club World Cup champions to men against boys? Because that's what that was.
Well, some would argue that was a game where PSG were not the PSG of the cup final that they played 2 months earlier in the Champions League, or a slightly under-aroused PSG that might have not been as motivated by this tournament. Danny will have you believe that this is a meaningless tournament that has no merit in it whatsoever. So when you're comparing the efficacy of a World Club Championship against the deep-seated meaning and the orthodoxy of the Champions League, you might be comparing apples with oranges.
I think, to be fair to Chelsea, in isolation, this two-legged tie against PSG, for 65 minutes in the first leg, Chelsea were really good and competitive, yeah? And there wasn't that much between the two teams. The obvious lack of experience as centre-half and the problems at goalkeeper are evident, and Cara spoke about this on the night brilliantly. This has been coming. You know, they're not great defensively. They have moments where they can concede chance after chance. Some that's not been addressed for a while, since Thiago Silva's left. Now, 2 games against Arsenal they've lost. 2 games against PSG they've lost. There's a gap, no doubt. The disappointing thing, I think, is more so, and where the disgruntlement has come from a group of Chelsea fans, or some, is Leeds at home, draw. Burnley at home, draw. Newcastle at home, lose. That is a build-up of poor performances and bad discipline and sendings off.
Yeah.
And the question marks are inevitable. The question marks are inevitable when you have a run of form where you're...
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. I'm taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Okay, this is talkSPORT, Sam Matterface and Alex Crook with Gabby Agbonlahor this morning. We're here through till 1 o'clock on Funboy Friday. And we've got the England squad announcement for the March internationals. Usually, an England squad for 2 friendlies in the middle of March wouldn't generate as many headlines as this one is going to. But because the World Cup is less than 100 days away, obviously, it is much more significant. 35 players have been named. Jason Steele has got his first call-up as part of a 5 goalkeeping battalion that also includes James Trafford, Aaron Ramsdale, Jordan Pickford and Dean Henderson. The defenders that have been included, with a bit of surprise maybe, Fikayo Tomori. John Stones has been included. Jarrell Quansah is back in the squad. Harry Maguire has got a recall as well. The other defenders, Byrne, Gahey, Hall, Konsa, Livramento, O'Reilly and Jed Spence of Tottenham Hotspur. The midfielders that have been called into the squad include James Garner, who gets a call up for the first time to the England senior squad, Anderson, Bellingham, Henderson, Mainu, who's back in after some good performances under Michael Carrick. We'll see him tonight live on talkSPORT when we bring you Bournemouth against Manchester United. Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers and Adam Wharton. And then the forwards, and there's quite a lot, but there is no room for Ollie Watkins, Bowen, Calvert-Lewin, Eze, Foden, Gordon, Kane, Madueke, Palmer, Rashford, Saka and Solanke. No Watkins in the squad. No Trent Alexander-Arnold in the squad. And actually, Gabby Agbonlahor's last statement before we went to the break was, do we think we're that good that we can afford to not have a Real Madrid right back in a 35-man squad?
Incredible.
I was looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold and his statistics. He's started 7 of the last 8. He's played 3 90 minutes since his return from injury. You were impressed with him, were you, in the game against Manchester City?
I was, both legs. Yes, he had a lot of help from Valverde and other players on that side, but when he was 1v1 with Doku, he done very well. It just baffles me. I get it. Trent is not the best of defenders. I get it. But his distribution, what he can do with a football, with a 35-man squad, to not pick him, are we talking about, is that a bit personal? I can't think that this England squad, without Reece James being available, are good enough to not have Real Madrid's #1 right back. Baffles me. We're not that good.
03717 223344. What's your reaction to the England squad? We'd like to hear from you. We get a lot of messages whenever we do an England squad announcement at 10 o'clock. We always get a load of messages, and we have a load of questions. We react because we see it the minute it comes out, and then we're on the air and we're broadcasting about it. So there's lots of questions. There's not that much time to sort of digest it and drill down into the detail. There's certainly not enough time to get answers to why these things have happened. But I will say this, Thomas Tuchel is usually very good at explaining every decision that he has made. And he's coming up at 11 o'clock with a press conference. We'll take that live. And usually I think what we have is an hour of debate about why everything's happened. Yeah. He comes on at 11, settles everybody down and says, this is why I'm trying to do it. He has been explaining James Garner's inclusion to the England social media channels.
James Garner just has a fantastic season. He's always available for Everton. He is plays in multiple positions, right defender, left defender, 6, 8. He's fast. He has a clean foot. Takes all the set pieces. I think he deserves. He's a bit of an underrated player, and I saw him many times now live, and convinced about his quality and his character, and want to see how he does in camp.
That was Thomas Tuchel talking about James Garner, and says he wants to see what he can do in camp. He's very complimentary about him. I think we've got him talking about Jason Steele as well in the last few minutes. Here he is.
There he is.
Well, Jason is a bit of a particular one, because we're planning to take 4 goalkeepers to the World Cup, and the 4th goalkeeper is then has a special role. So the 3 goalkeepers will compete and support each other for the matches, but they will also compete, of course, for a place in goal. The 4th goalkeeper in a World Cup is then a specialist. He will support the goalkeeper group. He will support the goalkeeper coach. He will support a penalty taking group and take a lot of workload off the other shoulders. And that's why we need an experienced guy. We need a guy with quality, with experience, and with the right energy and attitude. And we believe that Jason is this guy. So this is a kind of a trial to find out how this group works together for the World Cup.
That is really interesting, isn't it? Because basically,
he's on the plane.
Is he going, Jason Steele, as a member of the 26, or is he going as the 27th man, as a 4th goalkeeper that isn't going to play, but is going to be part of the squad to sort of help? Obviously, they want 4 goalkeepers because there's going to be times when they're going to split up into 4 different groups, obviously, and play games. They might do penalty shootouts, penalty groups, whatever. So that's why he wants 4 goalkeepers. Understand that. But will he take up a place in the squad?
But also, if you're looking for that older, experienced guy, you joked earlier, Fraser Forster at least has experience of playing for England. Would he not be a more suitable option?
Totally agree. Spot on. But do we need 4 keepers out of 26 man?
Well, he's explained why he wants it. He wants it for a specific reason. I think the key question is that man going to be man number 26, or is he going to be man number 27 and not registered as a player? Oh, that's the key question.
Okay. I thought it was 4 keepers out of 26.
Because if you're taking a 4th goalkeeper instead of a outfield player, that will raise eyebrows, I think.
Exactly. That makes sense then. Not registered, but can be part of the squad.
That's the question I think we have to ask him.
100%.
Interesting. 03717223344. Boys, are you going to mention no Gibbs White in the squad? Actually, he was on my long list earlier today, but I didn't get round to it.
It's gone under the radar because I didn't think he was playing that well for Nottingham Forest this season. He's actually scored more goals this season than ever in his Nottingham Forest career.
Yeah, he has. And he was actually very good the other week against Manchester City. He scored a brilliant goal there, didn't he?
But he didn't fancy him from the off, if you remember. He was left out of his first squad, then he came back in, then he didn't play him.
But what baffles me is that, and that's the problem, that fans will look at this England squad, will say, look at the game time of Phil Foden and look at the game time of Gibbs White. Phil Foden, 0 goals in 15 appearances in 2026. Gibbs White should be ahead of.
Are they banking on Phil Foden having world-class ability that maybe Morgan Gibbs White doesn't have? I'm not saying we've seen that in the last couple of seasons from Phil Foden, but it is in there somewhere.
And also, managers like Thomas Tuchel, Marcus Rashford's not playing much, but there's certain players
But he
that
can
maybe...
play as a 9 as
no,
well,
but there's
can't he?
certain players that he's going to pick, even if they're not playing a lot for their clubs.
Here's another question for you. Are you slightly surprised, bearing in mind that he has publicly turned down the chance to go to the World Cup with Scotland, that on a 35-man squad, Harvey Barnes is not in?
I'm not surprised. Actually, when we were at Cheltenham a couple of weeks ago, last week, Jim put me on the spot there, didn't he? And said, is Harvey Barnes going to be in this England squad? And I said, no, I couldn't see it. I don't understand why.
Even with 35? So that means he's that far away from this England squad that he should really, if he wants to go to the World Cup, say yes to Scotland, shouldn't he?
Well, absolutely. And I was surprised he didn't, because he's not going to get in the England squad.
But maybe in his mind, he's thinking, if it's not with England, I won't go.
Yeah, maybe he's just he's a loyal patriot. He just cares about England.
Disappointed you're not in?
Feel about.
I know, man.
You're expecting the call.
It's not over.
He did
It's not over.
He did get a text though to say he was on the long list.
But can I just say, I am gutted for Oliver Watkins. I am, but it's a good reason for him to now go and show what can I do in these last 10, 11 games for Aston Villa. But we're not talking about Solanke, who scored a lot of goals here. 3 Premier League goals for Solanke, 10 Premier League goals for Calvert-Lewin, and 8 Premier League goals for Watkins. Watkins is a better player than Calvert-Lewin, and no one can tell me different.
Okay, let's get to some of the messages. What on earth is going on with the squad? 35 players, Trent can't get in. Complete joke, says Garino. And how are we still not giving Tyreek Mitchell a go at Crystal Palace? Why aren't we giving him a cap? He has actually got a cap, but he is not been called up this time. Ben White, he still doesn't want to use him. I don't think Ben White wants to play, to be honest with you, Greeno. Anthony Gordon and Kane up top will strike fear into Iran, Australia and Ecuador, and the likes of Spain, France and Portugal will be rubbing their hands with glee, says one texter.
Very disrespectful to Harry Kane there.
I am genuinely baffled. Ivan Toney isn't given a chance. He's scoring for fun and gives something different. Mark the Geordie.
He's playing in a pub league.
Saka, he's been awful and terrible and shouldn't be anywhere near the squad, says Mark. Mark, give your head a wobble.
A lot of poor messages there.
In reference to Trent, well, the ref selects them, doesn't he?
Oh, okay.
In reference to Trent, he's a decent, okay defender midfielder with a great pass, but not good enough defensively or on the turn like a true midfielder. He's never going to be international level. That's Sid, the Villa fan. Ollie Watkins, not in the squad. Trent Alexander-Arnold, not in the squad. Some people just suggesting maybe that James Hill at Bournemouth maybe should be given a look as well. He's played really well for them recently. 03717 22 33 44. It's Sam Matterface, Gabby Agbonlahor and Alex Crook through to 1.
How do you feel that Jamie's wearing your mask? How do you feel about that?
I can't even see him. I can't see him.
I haven't got the mask on. I haven't got the mask on.
Fully got
I
it
can't
on.
see it.
Just breathing in there the lot.
Do you know what? All I can say is I wish I had the mask on now.
To be fair, you look like Ange.
It's just who we are, mate.
Your team play like
Seriously,
Ange.
though, mate.
Is this it? Can we end it now?
Mate. You've turned into a meme club, you are.
Can we end this interview now?
No.
Hold on, say that again.
You've turned into a meme football club.
I remember it. I mean, the last week, I don't think I've ever known a week like it, right? So you go back to Wednesday of last week and 74 minutes on the clock, and you think about what's happened. Conceded 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Slap.
Jesus Christ. Listen,
has anyone seen Candy? Dennis Wise?
Right, okay, hold on.
Solar!
Yeah, hold on.
Listen, who's that? Who's that?
No, leave it, man. Leave it. No, leave it. No, I'm doing something. No.
But did you think you would come from 3-0 down? Did he think he'd come from 3-0 down?
He was confident. It was encouraging signs, he said.
You're
Encouraging signs.
PSG.
I'm a United fan.
He's a bloody United fan.
Hey!
Don't swear.
Come on, boys. Listen, at the end of the day.
Hold on, who are you playing in the Champions League?
No, listen. Who's going to play next year? Who's going to play next year?
Champions League. I'm getting sick of United fans.
Hey, good morning to you. It's Friday. I don't know what the weather's. I can't see outside, but I'm guessing the weather is okay. Is the weather okay? Is it okay? Is it sunny? Yeah. Okay. When I woke up this morning in Oxford, it was foggy and very, very cold. By the way,
Was you scared?
No. Why would I be scared?
I don't know, mate.
Scared of fog.
I don't know, people are, mate.
But the weather's been a lot brighter, hasn't it, over the last couple of days? It's been really nice.
Sat outside a couple of days ago,
Did
loved
you?
it.
It's going to rain again next week.
Oh, okay. Cheers, Crookie.
Don't be so.
No, but I'm going on holiday, and I'm one of those. When I'm on holiday, I want it to be rubbish weather at home, so that you lot are suffering.
Oh, really?
Sorry, guys.
You know who else has gone away and has complained on social media yesterday about British Airways, Simon Jordan, about a delay?
I did see
and
that.
I couldn't help myself. I replied to his complaint and says, "If you don't like it, charter a private jet, you moron." And I loved it. And I think a lot of social media loved my reply.
Did he reply to you?
No, he didn't. I bet he typed it before. I'm not going to send what I really want to send him.
Why are you winding him up for?
Because he's going away on holiday and complaining about delays. The delays to everyone's flight.
He's allowed to have a little.
If you don't
Lord
like
Jordan
delays,
should not be delayed.
get a
Lord
private
Jordan
jet,
should not be
Simon.
delayed.
Sure you can afford it.
Well, he will do next time, won't he? As a result. Here we go. Typical England fans moaning. This ain't the final squad, and I'm sure there'll be more twists before he does announce his final 26. So instead of moaning, why don't you just get behind the manager and the team? We might actually achieve something, says Chelsea Mac. James Coleman, who's a Tottenham fan, says some surprises with the England squad. But I think it's good that Tuchel is making decisions to go against the grain. I think the previous problems we've had with England have been caused by shoehorning players into the team because of how good they are, not thinking about how to win games or the bigger picture. This is interesting, isn't it? Because I was looking at some of the quotes that he gave us a few months ago when he said, rather than finding positions for my best players just so that I can have them on the field, I prefer to put everyone in their best positions and have some competition. Well, there's certainly competitions in this squad, that's for sure. David is a Manchester United fan. Hello.
Good morning, gents. How are we doing?
Good, thank you. What do you want to say about the England squad?
Yeah, just a quick point on the Trent letdown. I mean, I spoke to your producer Just, and I mentioned to him the point. I think Gabby, when he asked the question, he kind of answered it himself. He said Trent is not the best defensively. I get that quote. So there you go. He's not the best defensively, and I think Tuchel, based on some of the messages, I completely agree with some of the messages you've had coming in. He's going back to basics. We've had this in England team now for so long where we try to shoehorn players. He's just going back to basics. So he wants to try other people that are actually solid in defence.
What could Trent offer going forward, though? Liverpool have missed him so much this season.
Yeah, I can argue and say that we've got plenty of creative players in further forward positions that can impact the game and play those forward passes that you're talking about with creativity. We've got plenty. We've got an array of those players. We don't need our defenders to be the creative players in the squad. And I think that's what Tuchel wants. And he's trying out people that are more solid. Also, I want to add that he plays in Spain. He hasn't really played a lot. So his fitness and the tempo and intensity that he's been used to over the last however many months is different to somebody at Everton or...
I think you'd have a point if it wasn't such a big squad, but the fact there are 35 names on this list and Trent isn't one of them, I think is a...
Well, they're just telling him he's not going to be involved.
It's a smack in the face.
And his tempo looked good against Manchester City, both legs.
You're a United fan, David. Kobbie Mainoo back in. I, for one, am delighted about that. Does this just show how much of a numpty the previous manager was?
I don't know. I think it's a reflection of where Kobbie Mainoo and his game has been, and Manchester United in general since Carrick came in. You know, there's a good feel factor around the club. You can see that the under-pitch performances have drastically improved, the intensity in the team, the off-the-ball running, the willingness. So that in itself has brought better, the better game of Kobbie Mainoo. What we know he can do is just all about him now proving that he can do it on the big set, consistently. So yeah, the talent's there. He's just proving that he can do it consistently for me.
I was waiting for Crook to go on about how happy he was that Kobbie Mainoo was back in the squad. He sent me a message this morning. The lad is back.
No comment.
Let's go. You don't want to slag off your coaching, mate.
He hasn't got any mates. He's only told us that this morning. The only mate he's got is Jack Grealish. I don't know if Jack Grealish is actually his mate, but he's Jack Grealish.
You don't reply to him no more, Ruben. My mate Rubes.
I forgot about you and Rubes on the
coaching badges.
Coaching badges,
yeah.
which wasn't true. Apparently,
we both struggled there, mate, in Belfast.
Did you?
If when he went for his job interview, he said, "I trained with Gabby Agbonlahor," they'd have thrown him out the door. They should have done, by the way.
Jamie's a Liverpool fan. Hello, Jamie.
Hi guys. Really good show as always. I always tune in the morning, and it's great to listen to you guys. But I just want to talk about a bit of a wild card. I know historically we've taken Walcott to the World Cup and other players like that when they were young. But I don't see the point in having a large squad with so many players in when it's going to sound really harsh, guys, and it's not going to come across that way, but there's a few players that are there for pity. Now, why take a Solanke, a Jed Spence, who have been not too good this year, but why not take an Engamoro or Downman? I'm not saying that they're going to the World Cup or anything like that, but just have them around the mix for the future. If you're taking a large squad for a training camp, I just do not see why you don't have a Rio Engamoro or a Downman in the team instead of a Tomori, a fourth goalkeeper.
Do you know what? I think that's a really good point, and I think in previous generations we would have done that. I think Thomas Tuchel's view, though, is about experience and about nous and about people who have been there and done it at club level. I think Engamo is 17 now, Dalman's 16. Listen, their time's going to come. I don't know how quickly their time is going to come, but their time is definitely going to come because they're both unbelievably good, talented players, and I'm sure that they'll go on to have brilliant careers with England and their clubs.
Also, Dalman's going to be busy for the first part of the World Cup because he's in the same school year as my daughter. They're both doing their GCSEs this year.
Yeah, but he could defer that, couldn't he?
Good. Can you?
Of course you can.
You can defer GCSEs.
You can. If you're playing professional sport, they'll come up with a way to have made him take the exams later in the.
You can take them in America, can't he?
Of course he can. He can do it remotely.
Do it in Mexico.
Crikey.
Okay.
Come on, Crook. At the end of the day.
Canada. That's what they got.
Just scary. The Max Dalvin's the same age as my daughter.
Max from year 11, not in the squad, but Harry Maguire is back in the squad. 03717223344, and Calvert-Lewin is too. And Dan, a Leeds fan, wants to react to that. Hello.
All right, guys.
All right, Dan. Dan's in a great mood.
Hello, Daniel.
Dan, are you going to be in a good mood at the end of May? Tell me, are you going to stay up?
Daniel, sorry, Alex. Daniel, you're not in a good mood today, are you, Gabby?
Go on, get it over and done with.
He's sat here shaking his head.
Striker in the Premiership, Gabby. Who's the best striker? Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Sorry, yes, mate. Do I think we're going to stay up? I don't know. I mean, West Ham looked really, really good against Man City the other week. They looked rather sharp in defence, and that keeper is really good. Against Palace, we looked a bit sticky. The penalty.
Right, Dan, that was a yes or no question. Are you going to stay up? We've got to get on to Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
We don't want to spend too long on small clubs.
I do, yeah.
Right, now talk to me about Calvert-Lewin and why he's in the squad.
Well, I think he's giving people a chance, isn't it? You know what I mean? But, I mean, where's, your substitute manager? What about Eddie Howe? Get him in there. But Calvert-Lewin, yeah, he's gone off a boil a bit, but I think it's seeing how he is, because he did play for England before, didn't he? And,
See if he can score tap-ins in training with England as well as the Premier League.
Yeah, but come on, I mean, what's your man done lately, Gabby? You know what I mean?
Experience, a fantastic goal against the Netherlands in the Euros. Experience in tournaments.
All right, so when we're talking about fantastic goals, what about Stack against Villa, eh?
Get him off the line. He's doing winning.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a big squad, but I don't think Anton Stack quite qualifies, even though we have got a German manager. And the dugout isn't big enough for all the players we've got, let alone having two managers. But cheers, Dan. Entertaining call. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. 03717 223344. Just a quick word on Ollie Watkins last night.
Yeah.
I did think as if there was a little bit playing on his mind a bit, because if you go back to the situation where the goalkeeper, Ozer, passes him the ball, basically. They give him the ball, they pass the ball into the midfield, comes back towards Watkins. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but instead of trying to shoot or go round the goalkeeper, he tries to pass it. Yeah. And I thought, is he lacking in a little bit of confidence?
More than a little bit, like a lot of confidence. Like this season, he's gone through little spells, hasn't he? Well, I remember when he played Brighton away, where he done well, but his confidence, Sam, even decision-making and finishing, he's going for the wrong finish. A couple of weeks ago, he went to go around the keeper, it wasn't on. But he's got
to go back to last season when you had Marcus Rashford on loan, who's not really a striker, and in the big European games, Watkins was on the bench.
Well, maybe that is the situation. We'll get into that in just a second.
At 30 years of age, he needs to get over this.
03717 223344. I have to come back in just a second and deal with that. This is talkSPORT.
You feel that Arne Slot is getting his excuses in early before they meet PSG?
I just think that ultimately Liverpool have had a great result and well done them. And people suggesting that Arne Slot was under pressure for this game, they've come out and smashed Galatasaray.
Right.
Fantastic. But I don't like managers building in some comfort zone into... There's no need to build up PSG as a boogeyman. every suggestion that you shouldn't be sitting there on television like I was advocating for a moment ago saying we're going to smash PSG, because I know that puts you as a hostage to fortune.
Right.
But there's no need to start building in how good PSG are, what they are and what they're not. Who cares? How good are you and what do you do? And there's no need to build in the fact that you're playing Brighton on Saturday at 12:30, because, by the way, Brighton haven't got the same sort of squad as you got.
All right.
So,
I mean,
come
but
on.
surely last night against Galatasaray, it was a near perfect performance. Is that not what Liverpool fans worldwide have been calling out for? And is it going to go anyway to calming the slot sceptics, of whom there are many? Ian, big Liverpool fan, you're first up again. What would you like to say? Good morning.
Hi, lads. Okay.
Good, Ian.
I totally agree with Simon. You get like a buffer in place there before we play them. You shouldn't be saying things like that. We should just, we're playing PSG. They're a good side. They won it last year. But at the end of the day, we're Liverpool Football Club. And what we've got to do is just get at them and the same type of tempo we played last night. That's what we need even more. So I totally agree with Simon. Sometimes in some of his language he says on the interviews, it does sound like he's getting excuses in early, and it gets on my nerves. He fails to realise he's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. I'm taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
talkSPORT. Lads, I'm a Villa fan. Watkins shouldn't be near our first team, never mind the England team. We should have kept Marlon if he wanted to stay, and Tammy must be scratching his head wondering what he's done. Cheers, that's from Andy. Did Gabby say Liverpool missed Trent's creativity, but didn't they spend £450 million on attacking players, £130 million of Wirtz, and they still don't have creativity? He criticises Man United for everything, but nothing on Liverpool. Mike says, Tuchel contradicts himself, wants experience, ready-made in the best possible positions, yet he's got Livramento and Spence, who are right-backs, but will use them as left-back in over an fit and informed Luke Shaw. If any other English left-back had played as well as Shaw this year over that many games, he'd start for England. That's Mike, the United fan. I think that was one of the surprises, actually, that he wasn't back in the squad. I have a text message here from a former education professional and someone who is very much has been involved in football education, but is a now very, very impressive broadcaster. Says, excuse me, how dare you say you don't defer GCSEs? He needs to keep as normal life as possible. He will still be doing education for the next 2 years after two.
Ooh, I did think you were being a bit flippant. I did
Arsenal
think you were
great with their players.
You got told then, Sam.
You did get told. You got told off. Got told off.
It's not a great lesson you're setting for the kids.
It isn't. But you can't do them remotely.
As a dad of about 400 kids yourself, you should be better.
Thomas Tuchel is about to speak to us, and he will give us all the answers to all the questions that you've had over that 35-man squad next here on talkSPORT with Soccer Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's Real Deal at soccerbw.com.
Eddie Howe, you might not have seen it yet, but the Newcastle game was brilliant. Barcelona, I loved it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get enough of it at half-time. And then it went pear-shaped. Of course it did. But Adrian was getting a bit animated, as he does, and he said, "That's it, Eddie's got a hand in his resignation." I'm like, whoa. It was some game, by the way. I mean, some game. And also, Pep, we're hearing today that Pep will make up his future, his mind up, after the cup final at the weekend. Are they premature here, both of them? If that's, I don't think Eddie's going to do it anyway, but...
No, I mean, it ended up a horrendous night for Newcastle. I was the same as you, mate. I sat and watched it before the Liverpool game. Couldn't take my eyes off it, mate. First half in particular. I mean, it was just intense stuff. But we knew that the way it was going to be. You know, with Barcelona with a high line, you know, with Newcastle with the pace, with Italian Barcelona have got in front areas. I think we had a fair idea that was the kind of game it was going to be. Unfortunately, second half went sour for Newcastle. Bad result. But listen, from where I'm standing, everybody just calm down. You know, I think Newcastle and Eddie, last night, second half aside, are absolutely fine. I know they'll be disappointed with no Champions League football next year, but they've already won a cup last year. I think they're still work in progress for me, right? And I understand the clamour instantly when you get a result like that people say they're demanding heads, but not for me. I think Eddie will continue with Jason Tinner a good job up there, and I think so he should. Pep's different for me, guys. I don't know what you think. Be interesting to hear what you think, Dino. I just think Pep's body language is different, mate.
Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League, as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league.
talkSPORT, Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Gabby Agbonlahor. We're here through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. Thomas Tuchel about to speak to us at Wembley. He's currently behind the scenes in the changing rooms, just getting ready to walk into the press conference stage.
It looks like there's fewer journalists there than there are members of the squad.
But there is. Thomas Tuchel, and he's taking his seat now alongside Andy Walker, who's the Director of Communications. So let's get to Wembley and hear what the England manager has got to say.
Conference to confirm the England squad for forthcoming internationals with Uruguay and Japan. We'll open up to the floor shortly, in which case, as ever, it'll be 2 questions per person. If we do have time, we'll come back to you. But before we take questions, Thomas will begin with an opening statement.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy and excited to be back. Maybe, yeah, I'm happy also, even more happy, more excited to be back soon on the pitch, to have my players back and have 2 matches before we finally go to the World Cup. I think it's a moment in March to acknowledge that the March camp is a bit of a unique camp in itself. I think the reality of it is that we are qualified. That means we have 2 friendly matches. The reality of a March camp is that our players are in a crucial moment in club football season. They fight for titles. They fight a relegation battle. They are involved in knockout matches, in cup matches. So it is a crucial moment of the season, a very stressful moment of the season for them. But it is also our last camp, the last opportunity to impress, the last opportunity for players to compete for their ticket. So it is a bit of a mix of motives. It's a bit of a mix of headlines for this camp. And to get the best out of this camp, we decided to kind of split it in 2 camps, which means we invited 19 outfield players and 4 goalkeepers into the first part of the camp, meaning until the match against Uruguay, to give these players a real chance to impress, to give the players a real chance to compete for minutes and for minutes against Uruguay, impress against Uruguay, and then also compete, of course, for their tickets to the World Cup. From Saturday morning, Friday evening, Saturday morning, 11 players will join us in camp, and we will then release some players to have a group of 21, 22 outfield players plus goalkeepers to prepare professionally and with full focus for the Japan match.
Rob, do you want to get started?
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
You do keep us on our toes. We weren't expecting this.
Good.
Can you help us out by telling us who the 11 are that are going to join up late, who won't feature?
Yeah, it's
in
no
the first
secret.
match?
It's no secret. You will see anyway if you come to open training sessions. And the players know it's Dean Henderson, Dan Burn, Mark Gehi, Esri Konsa, Nico O'Reilly, Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka.
So should we?
All of these guys have played 3,500 and plus more minutes. Some of them have 4,000 minutes. More important than the pure number of minutes is that some of these guys have already played more minutes than the whole last season. And there is still a lot of football to play. All of these players have contributed in September, October, November, so they have a bit of credit with me. We think that to give them a break mentally and physically, we will benefit from it. They will come with hunger. Once they come, I think the headline changes a bit of camp, maybe from the competition for minutes, a competition for the ticket. It will still be on, but it's more about reconnecting the group and reconnecting also to our standards and to our level. That's the expectation. And that's why we gave these players a bit of a break and the chance to join us later.
I guess those are the 11 players that you know very well as well, because you've had them in camp a lot already.
Yeah, exactly.
2 players you haven't had in camp at all are the Manchester United duo of Harry Maguire and Kobbie Mainoo that you've called up for this time. First time, actually, in all of your tenure that you've had any Manchester United player in your squad, which speaks volumes, is a really strange stat in its own right. Why these 2? Why now? Have they just... was it a no-brainer? Could you not overlook them?
Good. It's good to make the point that it's nothing against Man United. It's just to acknowledge the achievement of Man United as a team. I think they have an outstanding run since Michael Carrick is in charge, and Harry and Kobbie are a big part of that. So it's, like I said, it's the last camp before the US. It's the last chance also for me to get to know new players, to learn about new players. Kobbie is one of them. Harry is not a new player, of course, in an England shirt, but but new to me in a camp. I want to see them around other players. I want to feel them on the pitch. I want to see what they're capable of and learn about them to make a clear decision then in May.
Alex. Hi, Thomas. You mentioned that it's the last chance to impress and fight for the ticket on the plane to the World Cup. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's played just once under you, and with him not being in this larger squad, would it be fair to say that it's very unlikely for him to go to the World Cup?
No, it is. I know that it's a tough decision for Trent, as it is for, I guess, Ollie Watkins at the moment, and for Luke Shaw. These tough decisions come with a job. It is a sportive decision. It is a sportive decision that we stick with Jarell Quansah, with Tino Livramento, and with Chad Spence, who all can play for us in camp on the right fullback position. It is a decision for Dom Solanke and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which I don't know as well as I know, for example, Ollie Watkins. I feel I have a very clear picture of what Ollie can give us. I saw him in tournaments. I saw him with us in qualifying football. So I want to have a look at two other players to get a better picture and have a clearer opinion. I know it's a tough one. I know it's a big name. I think is a huge talent and with a big career. But I feel that I know what Trent can give us, and decided still to stick to the players who were in camp with us.
What is it you feel those other right backs offer you that Trent doesn't?
A slightly different profile, I would say, but it is more the evidence that we have that we were good in September, October, November than it has anything to do what Trent cannot offer us. I know very well what Trent can offer us. I played many times against him and suffered when he played against us, against my teams with Liverpool. So I know very well about his strength and what he can give. But at the moment, it is like that we have evidence how good we were in September, October, November, and the players who are in camp that I mentioned for right fullback, they have to push for their ticket. They have to compete. They have to show again that they deserve their spot.
Thomas, hello. Can we look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Dom Solanke? What were their reactions when you spoke to them? They both struggled with injury to show their true form of late. Why have you brought them in? Their perseverance?
Yeah, I think they're a bit the same profile. Harry Kane is not in camp in the beginning, so I wanna see them both. I wanna know more about Dom Solanke, who was with us once, but then, yeah, as you said, long time injured. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a good season with Leeds and is very decisive. Both are good penalty takers, by the way. So I want to see what they're capable of. I want to see if they can fill the gap, what they can bring, what they can offer with set pieces, of course with their strengths in their body and the height that they bring. So I want to learn about them. And let's see. I think, like I said, the competition is on. They will compete now for minutes against Uruguay. They have a real chance to get minutes against Uruguay. They were, of course, excited about the call-up. They understand the situation, and I think that helps, like, to be clear what the situation is in which they come. And they have a real chance to get an England cap, to get minutes, and of course they're excited for it.
James Garner.
Yeah. Well, the same. James plays an outstanding season with Everton and is maybe a bit of an underrated player, I have the feeling. He plays several positions. I saw him many times live. I was always impressed with his work rate, always impressed with his physicality. I think it's a pleasure to play with him. He's a fantastic teammate. He does everything to help the others around him. He has huge capacity. He can run a lot. He has a high speed. He's very physical. He takes all set pieces for a lot of set pieces for Everton, which tells us that he has a clean foot, good strike, clean passing. Was a pleasure to invite him. I wanted to see him and see what he's capable of, if he can adapt quickly to the level and if he can adapt to the situation. Yeah, it was an easy phone call because, of course, he was very happy about it.
That's David there. Thanks.
Hi, Thomas. With such a short time left from now till the World Cup and just a few training sessions in this camp, 2 games, what do those players that you've called up into the group who haven't been around it before, what do they have to do to give themselves a chance of being in the World Cup squad?
Adapt very quickly to the way we want to play. That was the reason why we split even the camp to also not get confused, to have the chance to get the players who come on Tuesday until the Uruguay match. We will have four training sessions together. We will have a clear profile for them, what we want, on which position they will compete within our structure, and what we demand and what we expect from them within the position. And then just, I hope they feel the freedom and they feel the spirit of the group quickly. It was a pleasure in September, October, November to be part of this. So we want to reconnect to that spirit. I think it's very important that John Stones, Jordan Henderson, normally Eberechi Eze, players who have been in camp with us, who have contributed a lot, that they will just make it straight away clear to everyone what it means and how you act on the pitch and off the pitch with respect, and how you be a good teammate. This is what we want to create, and then hopefully the players find straight away the freedom and the liberty to show their potential. But we will be very clear with them in the 4 training sessions. And it is demanding, but I'm looking forward to it. It is possible, I think, to prepare a team in 4 training sessions for a match against Uruguay, and we will do it.
A player that a lot of England fans are very excited about is young Max Dowman. Did you consider looking at him this time?
Well, he put himself in the spotlight now with this amazing goal against Everton and the crucial goal. I think he is at the moment competing, and obviously a fantastic talent and an outstanding talent, and with this age there cannot be a doubt about it. Everyone who tells me about Max praises him and is full of compliments about him. The reality at the moment is also that he competes for minutes. He's not a regular starter for Arsenal. I think he's in a fantastic environment. I think he's in the best environment possible, in a competitive club, in a stable club, in a club where teamwork is number 1 rule. This is how they play. This is how they function. So he learns from the very best in the very best environment. And with these young guys, of course, we have we know all these players and we see them as you do as well. At the moment, I think he's in a good place to fight for his position, fight for his minutes at Arsenal, we always have the chance to call him maybe up for the World Cup. The thing with young players is to keep their momentum maybe going and keep their excitement and they have a level of fearlessness with them. So no need to call him up now and increase the pressure and increase all the noise that comes with it. But we have all options.
Thomas, hi. You talk a lot about connections on the field. Is there a logic to the way Lewis Hall's been playing, and Anthony Gordon as well, to have a look at them at some point in tandem?
That Anthony comes later and does not play. Yeah, ideally, of course. There is. We broke our heads about it for days and weeks. There is no ideal scenario because I was convinced that Anthony can use a bit of a break. And Luis competes for minutes. Is this not always the same question? Like, you give players then the chance. Would it then be not maybe more fair to give one player or 2 players the chance and let them play with the guys who regularly play? But what happens to the others? So it's always the same question. And I'm happy that we have 4 training sessions together to find a mix on each side that is at least then fair to judge the players. I know that it will not be easy for them to maybe play in new constellations on the side and play in a new environment and play under the stress of competing for a World Cup ticket. But I mean, this is high-level football. It comes with a bit of pressure and it comes with a bit of resilience. So we all have to adapt to it and make the best of it.
England have taken a fourth goalkeeper unregistered to tournaments before, obviously Tom Heaton.
Yeah.
But it's normally an experienced goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Steele is obviously here. Is he now on the plane to America?
No one is on the plane to America. He's now with us on the March camp. As you said, England has a history of taking 4 goalkeepers to the tournament, which makes absolutely sense. And we identified Jason to be a very, very good candidate for this role. And we wanted to try it. And the trial is now in March camp.
Come over to Simon Peach here.
Hi, Thomas.
Hi.
Just wanted to ask about Jude Bellingham. Obviously, he's not played for Real Madrid since the start of February. How are you planning to use him? Is he fit enough to be involved in terms of the game minutes?
So that was everyone had the same interest, which is not always the case. But in this case, we all had the same interest. I wanted Jude to be in camp. Jude wanted to be in camp, and Real Madrid is happy for him to come to camp because we can provide basically team training for him, which is a bit difficult because Real Madrid is just like on the international break. So we can provide that. So all boxes are ticked. I think it was very important to get the expectations right. It's maybe also very important to get your expectations right about Jude in this camp. We will continue his progress in integration into team training. We will be very careful and not take any risk with Jude regarding a risk of re-injury. It's a very rare injury for him to have a muscle injury, so he's not experienced in it. So we will be very, very careful with it and not take any risk. The best case scenario is that he gets some minutes against Japan. That is the framework. And then we will adapt from day to day.
Thomas, Fikayo Tomori, a player you've been tracking since you joined Chelsea. Many England fans always ask, why is he not involved?
Yeah.
Why have you brought him back?
Well, I had many phone calls with Fikayo over the last year, and it was always close, and I kept encouraging him to keep on going and that he's close and he's still on the long list and it's tough decisions and maybe 49% decisions against him because someone else got the 51% in his favor. Now we have, like I said many times, the last chance to actually see him on the pitch. I'm very impressed with Fikayo's ability to defend, which is, of course, a key characteristic for a defender, and in these days, and can be very valuable in of course, also in knockout football. So he loves to defend. He's fast. He's aggressive, and he's strong in duels. Happy that he's in camp. He was excited to come, and it was a long wait for him, so good he's back.
That was Thomas Tuchel justifying his 35-man squad. And boy, as I said to you a little bit earlier on, whenever we have these England announcements, the squad comes in, everybody has 1,000 questions, and we're all a little bit sort of scrambling around asking why. And then he comes out and just puts it all into context very quickly. What a brilliant idea. Good fresh thinking to split the squad in two and split the break in two. We've got all the established internationals coming back for the game against Japan. But in terms of the Uruguay match, Tuesday to Friday is going to be a bit like the X Factor boot camp. 03717 2233 44. Your reaction to Thomas Tuchel next on talkSPORT.
And I told you there were encouraging signs. And now they're starting to there's green shoots of recovery.
Are you such an idiot?
It's green shoots of recovery,
You're such
mate.
an idiot. Like,
Look, see, I can't win. I cannot win.
You've basically just got lucky.
No, Jay.
You've got lucky.
No, I haven't got lucky.
You have?
No, I have not got lucky at all.
You're mocking it.
No, I wasn't.
And it's actually turned into a correct answer.
That is what you call superb punditry. If Roy Keane had said that, right, everyone would go, gee, what Roy Keane said a couple of weeks ago, he saw encouraging signs.
Yeah.
I say it with a clown hat on, with an Ange mask, and you say, that's disgusting, mate. Give me some credit.
I'm not giving you any credit. Let's go to Joe. He's a Spurs fan. Joe.
All right, Joe.
Hi, boys. How are you?
All right, Joe boy.
All right, Joe. I'm all right. Yeah.
Right.
Go on.
I just wanted to say, right, you're good at... I may sound like an absolute clown saying this, right? After that performance that we put in tonight, if we saw that week in, week out, like the old Tottenham, and we played like that every single week, for me, there is no reason why we cannot be a title in the title contention next season.
I'm not a clown.
Joe.
Yes.
Let's just not be stupid right now.
Oh, come on.
You know.
How old are you, Joe?
I'm 9.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It's talkSPORT, Sam Matterface and Alex Crook with Gabby Agbonlahor. Be interesting to get your reaction to what you've heard from Thomas Tuchel. We said to you that he always comes up with an explanation. His explanation is a 19-4 split for the first game against Uruguay. 19 outfield players and 4 goalkeepers. 11 players will then join on Saturday to compete for the Japan game. And it'll be interesting to see who makes it through boot camp and stays around.
You don't want my list.
For the next round of the competition. No, it's not about your list. It's about what he's decided to do, which is good, fresh thinking. The idea of giving players a bit of a rest mid-season as well. So you've got a lot of players that will get good 4 or 5 days without having to do anything and then join up on Saturday.
Yes, amazing for the likes of Saka. You know, the players that are going to play a lot of football this season. Go and get that rest. But Sam, coming from a player's point of view, the players that are fighting for a position on that plane, every training session you've got now with Thomas Tuchel in the next 4 or 5 days that you've got before the game against Uruguay, 100 miles an hour. I'm at it. I'm flying around.
Okay, so Jude Bellingham obviously is there because of the injury, so otherwise he might be in the other group. You'd imagine that Jordan Pickford is there because they want 4 goalkeepers, but he probably would be in the other group if he played more minutes. But if you look at it, Ramsdale, Steele, Trafford, Hall, Livramento, Maguire, Kwanzaa, Spence, Stones, Tomori, Garner, Henderson, Mainu, Wharton, Bowen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Eze, Foden, Noni Madueke, Palmer, Rashford, Solanke. They have all got to spend the week
just be at
proving
it,
themselves.
Be at it non-stop. And when you play in that game against Uruguay, I'm being honest. If I'm Calvert-Lewin or Solanke, I'm being so selfish. I am doing everything I can to steal the limelight, to have my best game of the season, to get on that plane. This is like a one-off game, and if you want it, go and get it.
I think the two most interesting ones out of the names you've just reeled off there are Foden and Cole Palmer, because I think if you said after the last European Championships that you get to the World Cup in 2 years' time, and basically you two have got to audition for a place in the squad, we wouldn't have believed it, particularly in the case, I think, of Cole Palmer.
And do you know what? It was quite interesting because he said, it's a bit stressful at the moment because there are a lot of players that are involved in knockout matches. It's a tough time of the season, but this is the last chance to compete for your ticket to the World Cup. And that will come with a little bit of pressure. And yes, we've only got 4 training sessions and a football match to play, but this is high-level football. High-level football comes with a bit of pressure. I think this is such a refreshing approach. The fact that he split this into 2 and said to these players that may be on the fringes, you show me why you should be in this squad. I want to see it.
Yeah, and I'd love it to say it in the first meet-up. Have a meeting with all the players and say, guys, this squad has not been confirmed yet. Go and show me in training. These training sessions that we're going to have before the game should be the best training sessions I've seen in my whole career, because what's at stake is a golden ticket to the World Cup. Livramento, Spence, let me see you defend. Let me see you defend against these attackers, Bowen. Let me see you against Uruguay. Have your best ever game in England shirt.
I think also it's great that he's protecting certain key players. Yes. We've all known that Harry Kane doesn't need to play every minute of every friendly. Declan Rice fits into that camp. Bukayo Saka, who for me has looked a little bit jaded over the course of the season, so extra time off for him. Morgan Rogers, I think, has looked tired of late for Aston Villa as well, so that makes a lot of sense. Dan Burn's an interesting one. The fact he's in this 11 who don't play in the first game, he seems pretty much cemented, doesn't he? For
those 11 you would expect now, if they're fit, they're in the squad. I mean, he says no one's definitely in the squad, but as far as you can be, those are.
You know, though, the names. O'Reilly as well is on that list.
I'll tell you who's not in the squad, though, who's not guaranteed to be in the squad, and that is the number 10s, because actually after we left him, there was one more answer, and he says, I'm not going to take 3, 4, 5 positions per players for each position. It is 2 players for each position. So that means Rodgers, Bellingham, Palmer, Foden, Eze, they're all competing for one place.
Well, Rodgers is going to go because he's in the 11 that don't link up into the second game.
Bellingham, Palmer, Foden, Eze are all competing for one place.
So those 3 players are competing for one.
Probably.
Yeah. And it's obvious.
Well, Bellingham's going to go.
They might take an extra player in that position just if someone's versatile, because they might. I think if you go through it, you've got an extra. There is 2 or 3 positions where you can take 3 instead of 2.
It's interesting that Bellingham is listed as a midfielder and not as a forward on this squad list, because he will go.
Well, there you go.
I think as well, Sam, you talk about those 3 players there, Foden, Palmer and Eze. It's obviously going to be Foden. I mean, if you look at his... think? Yeah, I think so, yeah. If he's looking at his...
Right now, would take Eze, wouldn't you?
Of course. No, I'm saying Foden misses out.
Oh, right.
Foden will miss out of those 3 players because he's not playing nowhere near enough. Last 10 games, Real Madrid, a few days ago, 0 minutes. 16 minutes against West Ham. Unused sub against Real Madrid away from home. Newcastle, 11 minutes. Forest, 77. Leeds, unused sub. Newcastle, 3 minutes. Fulham, 71. Liverpool, unused sub. Spurs 2 minutes. He's not playing nowhere near enough football for me to be on that plane.
The other thing is that players like Eze, who can play on the left side as well, give themselves a bit of an advantage on the basis. I don't think it's his best position, by the way, to play off the left. I think he's better playing as a number 10. But the fact that he can play out there gives him the opportunity to compete with Rashford and Gordon, because there isn't as much strength in depth on that left-hand side as there is on the...
And what sort of chat is Thomas Tuchel going to have with these players? Is he going to sit Foden down, have a one-to-one and say... Come on, what's happening?
Listen,
we're not playing no football.
Let's be clear. We all thought it was going to be very difficult for anybody to walk into the England manager's hot seat and be able to compete with the level of articulacy and communication that Gareth Southgate could produce. But it is, as Gary and Tewksbury says here, so refreshing to have an England manager that just clearly answers questions. No ambiguity, no nonsense. We understand the plan and we love it. Graham Streak says, what an impressive manager. No woolly explanations, no favouritism, no trite cliches, just clear explanation and a brilliant idea to split the camps. Dave Maguire, finally. I love listening to Tuchel. He tells it as it is. Why is he also not scared to not make this difficult choices? We also clearly show that he has spoken to players who are close. He feels positive about it and the upcoming friendlies. more so even than the World Cup. A manager who isn't going to flog the main stars to death. Thank God for that. Great decision from Tuchel to give main players a bit of a rest. Such a major decision. Well done, Mr. Tuchel. 03717 223344. Text us 81089 for your reaction. You can't help but being impressed by the way he conducts himself and explains things.
Superbly. Obviously, I was at the World Cup draw in Washington, had a few minutes with him after England's name came out of the hat, and he does. He never ducks a question. He gives you an honest answer, and he carries that aura as well, which, you know, top-level managers have. I think he's an uber-impressive character, and if England don't win the World Cup, I don't think it'll be down to Thomas Tuchel.
Well, he's going to stay now to the European Championships in 2028, and we've got a new series of X Factors starting on Tuesday morning. All the players that want to go to the World Cup and are not quite sure of a position will be joining up at St George's Park. They'll train 4 times, playing Friday night's match against Uruguay. And those who impress will make it through to the next round. This is talkSPORT.
Let me put this to you, though, Simon. I mean, Arsenal make the headlines all the time now. And, of course, in spite of what John Obi Mikel said, they are in the mix to win everything. Yep. Whether or not they do that, whether or not they win 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, yeah, maybe it starts this Sunday at Wembley in the Carabao Cup final. I'll be there as they take on Pep's Manchester City. But, of course, no need to think what's been one of the headline stories this week. It's been about the wonder kid. And I say wonder kid, there you go. I've just fallen into the trap. 16-year-old Max Dowman. Big things expected of young Max, and he is performing, you know, at a level that have surprised many at the tender age of 16. But we now understand, Simon, that Max Dowman's dad and brother have obtained FIFA agent licenses with suggestions that they, his family, will manage his career going forward. The family, you won't be surprised to hear, have had approaches from agents since Max's debut as a 15-year-old. That was last August. But they've held out, and now he signed a pre-contract agreement with Arsenal in January, and that will convert into his first pro contract when he turns 17 on the 31st of December. Going forward, it's his father and brother who represent him. Is that the best way forward for Dowman?
I suppose to some extent, from the point of view of having the due care around what's right for the young man, you could argue that. Whether they have the commercial wherewithal, and that's game for. Listen, none of these agents are going to be candidates for Mensa, I can assure you.
A whopping 35 England players have been named in Thomas Tuchel's final squad before the World Cup selection. No Ollie Watkins, no Max Dowman, no Luke Shaw, but Calvert-Lewin is in, and Kobbie Mainoo is as well, and Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire's never let England down. I know there's been a lot of criticism at club level, but he's back in the United side, playing regularly, enjoying his football, and I've always been a supporter of Maguire.
5 goalkeepers, including Brighton's Jason Steele. He hasn't played in the Premier League all season.
You've got Carl Rushworth, England under-21 international, the best goalkeeper in the Championship at Coventry. I know for a fact that Frank Lampard has held conversations with the England goalkeeper coach about Carl Rushworth. Surely that would be better if you're going to take 5 goalkeepers to plan for the future.
Now, they might be in a relegation scrap, but Ryan Yates told TNT Forest are still dreaming of winning the Europa League.
Shout out to the fans, especially the ones that have travelled here, spending a lot of money, a difficult time for many people from minute one. They really helped us. And, it took us penalties, but we're through, and that's all that matters.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan's made snooker's biggest ever break, 153 in the World Open. The Rocket snookered Ryan Day to get a free ball before reeling off the 15 reds, 13 extra blacks and 2 pinks before polishing off the colours. There's more, as ever, at talksport.com.
It's talkSPORT, it's Sam Matterface and Alex Crook alongside Gabby Agbonlahor. Just to let you know that in the last few minutes, I'm speaking to Thomas Tuchel. Faker Others, I think, has confirmed that he hasn't yet spoke to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Apparently he said not yet when he was asked if he'd spoken to the Real Madrid player. And when asked if Trent thinks his England career is over, he said, I don't know. Time to catch up now with the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
And Dan Towles is furiously now scribbling, changing the odds that he was going to give us on Trent going to the World Cup. Hi, Dan.
Hello, Sam.
How are you? Okay?
Good, mate. You?
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. We're looking ahead to all the weekend's top sporting events and discussing the latest odds with BetMGM. And what a thriller in the BetMGM darts it was last night. Now, we were looking forward to Manchester in a couple of weeks, Brighton the week after that. Luke Littler, if he comes up with a display like he did last night in Dublin, will be very excited.
He will, yeah. It was ridiculous. A bit of a mad night. Starting with Jean Van Veen pulling out owing to illness. Therefore, Michael van Gerwen was awarded an automatic semi-final spot. He faced Luke Littler in the semi-final, and it was a hell of a match with 2 170 checkouts, and Littler finally winning 6-5. Gerwin Price reached the final. He beat Josh Rock 6-0 and then Luke Humphrey 6-1, so only dropping one leg. And he went into the final and stormed into a 5-0 lead. Littler looked a little bit dead and buried, to be honest with you. At one point, he waved to the crowd after hitting a 180 checkout and leaving Price on a finish, but he missed it, and Littler managed to hit some form and come back and win 6-5. Now has his second win on the board for the Premier League season. After a little bit of a slow start, he's starting to find a bit of momentum, like I think we all thought he would. Johnny Clayton still leads the table with Price and Humphreys making up the other playoff spots as we head into week 8 in Berlin next week. But Littler's still the outright favourite at 5-4 to lift his second MGM Premier League title.
Where is next week? Berlin?
Berlin, yes.
We should have gone to that one. Why didn't we go to that one?
Well, we'd probably have a better time than Luke Littler because the Germans do give him a bit of stick, Dan, don't they?
They certainly do.
Yeah, they do indeed.
Yeah, they do. That's next Thursday. Golden Goals this weekend. We're placing a prediction on some of the upcoming games on Golden Goals. If we correctly guess the exact scoreline, BetMGM will donate £500 to our chosen charity, Prostate Cancer
Alex.
UK. Why is everybody laughing?
I don't know. It's like you said, it's a free-to-play game in the app, no deposit required, and you could win up to £250,000 for customers. But you think Luke Littler's getting some stick in Germany next week, Crookie? For 10 minutes last week, it looked like if you'd finally broken your duck.
I underestimated how rubbish Aston Villa were with my prediction, unfortunately. But I did get a 300 to 1 4-timer in midweek, as you know. So
Oh, here we go.
Well done, mate.
Oh,
Not
here
all
we
bad.
go. You didn't get a 301 4-timer. You didn't back it as a 4-timer.
No, I didn't. But if I had done, it was 300.
There was just 4 different tips. All of them were favourites.
Yeah, for 10 minutes, Crooker, we all got a little bit excited, didn't we?
Yes.
And then Chesko popped up, and then Sam, you also got very close last week until Jordan Pickford decided to run up the other end of the pitch in the 97th minute.
Oh, do you know what the worst thing about that was? Is that you're trying to make out that I was already celebrating. All I did was send you a pair of eyes in the 91st minute.
You did.
Dan, I don't know why with Crookie, like I really want us to raise as much money as possible, but the first Manchester United goal I've celebrated because Crookie did it. Get one right.
And do you know what? It's interesting because I just looked down at the predictions for golden goals this week, and I know that he's got the same prediction for me in Curse of the Commentator on the Breakfast Show, and now I just want to lose.
That's not very charitable, is it?
It's not. All right, let's get going then. So Sam, let's start with you. We've given you, which is a huge game, Spurs versus Forest.
Absolutely. Now they've only won 4 of the last 29 Premier League home games dating back to November 2024. But I think Tottenham Hotspur, buoyed by the performance in midweek and Sunday's game at Liverpool, will have a bit too much for a Nottingham Forest side who look as if they're lacking in goals to me. And Nottingham Forest did okay in their game on Thursday night. They got the job done in Midtjylland. I think it'll be a difficult task to now go to Spurs on Sunday. So I'm going Tottenham 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
Yeah, as you said, picked up their first win under Igor Tudor in the week, and buoyed by the point they got at Liverpool last week. A 2-1 Spurs win is 7-1. And Gabby, we've given you another huge game, which is the derby in the northeast.
This is a massive game. Newcastle, very disappointing to lose 7-2. Quite embarrassing for Newcastle fans, players, and the club. But this is a derby. Anything can happen. Newcastle fans will be demanding a performance and demanding a win to save some face. It's been a really poor season, to be honest, for Newcastle, especially in the league. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Newcastle, a hard-fought 2-1 win, and the fans happy.
Yeah, Newcastle won their last 2 in the league. Their last Premier League game at St James Park, they beat, obviously, Man United. Sunderland are actually unbeaten their last 10 league games versus Newcastle. Now, we know that goes across a few seasons, winning 7 and drawing 3, but a Newcastle 2-1 win is 13-2. And then, Crookie, we've given you Brighton-Liverpool.
Tough one to call this, because obviously Liverpool had a brilliant win.
They're all tough ones to call for you.
They're all tough ones to call.
We know.
Liverpool had a brilliant win in midweek, but Galatasaray I thought were really poor on the night. Brighton found a bit of form. Don't lose at home very often. I've gone for the 1-1.
Yeah, both teams scored this fixture at the Amex in the last 2 occasions, with 2 of the last 5 Premier League fixtures between the sides of the Amex ending in draws. So it's not the worst shout on paper. 1-1 draw is 27-5. So Sam, you've gone Spurs, a 2-1 win over Nottingham Forest. Gabby, you've gone for Newcastle to beat Sunderland 2-1. Crookie, you've gone for a 1-1 draw between Brighton and Liverpool. 375-1, but as we always say, let's try and put some money in the pot for prostate cancer.
Brighton 2, Liverpool 2.
And Newcastle United against Sunderland is live on talkSPORT lunchtime on Sunday. I can't believe you said that Newcastle United had a poor season, Gabby. Last 16 of the Champions League 4 years ago, they almost got relegated. Okay. Carabao Cup final, very quickly. Let's preview that. What are the latest odds? Who's the favourites? Arsenal, obviously.
They are indeed. First domestic trophy of the season. Arsenal come into the game on better form and beaten since January. City have drawn their last 2 league games. Obviously, they've sandwiched that in between defeats with Real Madrid. Arsenal won the trophy since 1993, and this is their first League Cup final since 2018, when they actually lost to Man City 3-0. Arsenal the 5-4 favourites. The draw's at 9-4. City just over 2-1 at 41-20. I fancy the draw at 9-4 here. I don't know how much of a say it's going to say in the final league placings, but Arsenal still going for the quad.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much, Dan.
Cheers.
Thank you, Dan.
That. That's Dan Towers from BetMGM. He'll be back with us next Friday.
7-2.
And how long have we got?
To the darts?
To the darts.
Well, you're going the week before me.
I am.
I'm at Chepstow Races when you're in Manchester, but I've got Brighton the following week with, I think now England international Jason Steele.
So you'll be backtracking on your comments just in case you have to sit next to him.
Apparently he's listening to the radio now.
He's decided not to come to the darts with us now. We're supposed to be going to the darts with the England goalkeeper, and now we can't go because Alex has annoyed him. That was the latest look at all the odds from BetMGM. Check out All the odds at betmgm.co.uk or download the app 18+. Speedgambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Okay, let's look ahead to some of the weekend's football in the Premier League, starting with Spurs against Nottingham Forest. So stick around. This is talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook, and Gabby Agbonlahor. We're here right the way through until 1 o'clock, and we're with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
I don't know about Barca.
What do you mean?
I don't know about Barca.
They won 8-3.
Yeah, first half Newcastle the better side.
Yeah, I know, but
no, I'm not convinced by them. I'm not convinced.
Here's my take on it. You're right. The league is. I don't look. You know, you look at over the league phase. The Premier League teams go, God, look at us. We're just dominating Europe because we're too strong over.
Yes.
You know, an 8-9 game. How many games you play, right? Yes. But when it comes to the elite level, when it comes to the knockout rounds and the big games against the big dogs, we get found out because our Premier League, really, I don't think the quality is that great.
No, it's not
It's
great.
been a set-piece league.
Yeah.
It's all been about long throws, direct football. And you play against PSG, you play against Real Madrid, you play against Barcelona, Bayern Munich, you know, even Atletico, you know, in Madrid. We get found out because they know how to play football.
They are football teams in the true sense of the word. But that doesn't necessarily mean to say that Arsenal, who are going to be have got their criticism, aren't capable of going and doing what they're doing in the Premier League and overpowering teams and dominating games because Arsenal are the best at it.
Yeah.
They're the best at it.
Do you think Arsenal are going to win it?
Mate, if they don't, then I think they're
secret Arsenal fan this season.
What is on? I've got no love. I hope Arsenal fall at the last every time. But you've got to appreciate a good side. You've got to appreciate what they do, and they do it well. Dark arts, all of that. I've said this. I want my side, Chelsea, to be more like them. We are incapable.
You got beat 8-2.
But that's what I mean. I want to be more like Arsenal.
You didn't respect the ball.
I want to be more like Arsenal, mate.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Good old Alex Crook has bought everybody a coffee.
I can't believe it.
What a generous man.
If you can call that a coffee, it's like half a cup's full.
Whoever he has sent to go and get the coffees has asked, can I have the smallest coffees for my fellow
Unbelievable.
talkSPORT workers?
And also, you know, there's top class coffee shops. Why did you take him to the? Why did you tell him to go to the Aldi cafeteria?
Yeah,
he's got my back, you know, because I look after him when other people cause him aggravation. I'm there to look after him.
Careful, you're walking into an area that I don't think you should probably be going into. Just gonna throw that out there. Sunday.
You're already little. Why do you need a massive coffee?
Because I just need the caffeine to keep up with your nonsense. Sunday, 2:15, Spurs against Nottingham Forest. It's more than a game, this, isn't it? It's a bit like a fight for survival. It sets the tone for both of them in the running. The outcome of this match will set the tone for what happens next, especially with the international break around the corner. Both need to capitalise, Gab, on the good feeling that they garnered in midweek.
And also, I look at Nottingham Forest, the amount of players that they rested. You know, yes, majority of them had to come on in the game to get it over the line. But you can tell Forest know this is a cup final with the changes they made. Spurs midweek played their best side. Simmons was very good. Crookie was right.
Did they play their best side? I mean, Richarlison was suspended, but Solanke wasn't risked.
Crookie was right about what?
He was right about Simmons, the way that he stayed when everyone else went on holiday, done extra training. But I just think this is a massive, massive game. There's a massive cup final on Sunday, Sam.
You know what
this is a bigger
me?
game.
From a Forest perspective, I commentated the game for talkSPORT 2 last night. I've got to say, the 3 Michelin penalties were amongst the worst I've ever seen. They got worse, Forest, when they brought the big hitters off the bench.
Yes.
That would be a little bit concerning for me.
There is a big contrast, I think, between Spurs' European form and their domestic home form. Something they've got to turn around, because that they were humiliated by Arsenal. They were well beaten by Atletico Madrid away from home, although actually the game was a lot closer. If you take out the stupid errors, actually it was a lot closer than it needed to be. They scored 3 times against Atletico Madrid on Wednesday night, by the way. And 5 in total, yeah. Liverpool, they got a draw up there thanks to a 90th minute goal, but it was more of a spirited display. But at home, they haven't won a domestic game in 2026. It's their worst league run without a win since 1935. No win in 12 Premier League games. They've won 4 home Premier League matches since November 2024 and that Chelsea meltdown. So they've got to start, if they're going to stay up, they've got to start putting points on the board at home.
What I liked in midweek was the fans were with them.
Totally.
The fans were like, you know what, you're running around, you're showing that you care, you're showing fight. If they start the game like that off on Sunday, I think Spurs win the game. I really do, using the home advantage. But Nottingham Forest, they've got players, but they just can't score goals, can they?
No.
Really struggle.
Let's focus on Tottenham, because you said that it was possibly the worst appointment in Premier League history. You said Igor Tudor gives you Ivan Juric vibes, but actually over the last 2 games, you've seen a bit more of a cohesive game plan, haven't you?
Yeah, but I wonder how much that is to do with the manager and how much it is to do with the players actually finally realising the severity of the situation. And the reason I say that, you look at Mickey van der Ven, who was put up at the press conference before the Atletico Madrid game, and he was clearly rattled by suggestions in some publications that some of the players are already down tools. A lot of them knew that if they went down, they wouldn't be there next season. And I wonder in some ways, has that created a bit of a siege mentality? Because Gabby's just said they ran around a lot against Atletico Madrid. They did. They haven't done that for a lot of the season.
Well, Simon was brilliant on that, by the way, a couple of days ago. And he said, well, what's the evidence that you haven't all thrown your toys out?
Exactly that.
You know, the fact is that over the course of the season, you have been poor. It doesn't look like that you've put enough in. Maybe that is because of lack of confidence. Maybe because it's the chopping and changing. Maybe it's because you're not happy about Thomas Frank replacing Ange Postecoglou. But the evidence of your eyes suggests that they hadn't performed well enough up until that point. So it is time now to get together and make sure you realise it's a serious situation.
This is a bigger cup final than Arsenal versus Manchester City on the weekend. This is like...
You think so?
Yeah, you cannot lose this game. You will see a game between 2 teams throwing everything at it to not lose, because it's not just about the points difference if you lose the game. What does it say to you mentally if Spurs lose another game at home, goes 13 Premier League games without a win to and lose to Nottingham Forest? What does that say? Confidence with the hard games that both teams have got to come?
Well, bearing in mind where they finished last season, and last season was bad, lose Sunday, and Tottenham would have lost more home games this season than they did in the whole of last season.
Wow.
It feels make or break. If they win the game, then obviously it builds on the positivity from midweek and you think they've got enough quality to stay up. If they lose it, it's 2 steps backwards. There'll be decisions to be made about the manager. once again, and psychologically, that would be a hammer blow they may not recover from.
Hard to call this game. It really is. Because we know Forest can put in a performance when they're at it.
Do they score enough goals?
They've already beaten
You
them.
know what it's like when you to put the ball in the back of the net in the Premier League. You know how hard it is, and Forest seem to make harder work of it than most. They have a lot of chances, but their conversion rate this season, in comparison to last year when they were very efficient in front of goal, is the worst in the Premier League.
And your Italian friend up front was diabolical.
He's not my Italian friend. I just like his nickname.
Yeah. Pizza Crouch.
Will the fact that Forest beat them 3-0 at City Ground early on the season, would that make a difference to anything? Beating them 3-0 already this season?
No, I don't think so. I think this is such a one-off game. Like you said, it's a cup final.
Yeah.
And everything goes out the
Who's going
window.
to set their chances, wins the game?
I think we've not won in 18 Premier League games now as a manager.
With 2 wins in 10, 20 defeats in all competition Forest this season. They've lost 12 over the course of the whole of last season. They've lost 20 already this season. And his form hasn't been great since he came through the door, Vitor Pereira, even if performances have been okay up until the edge of the penalty area when they just don't score.
I think he probably got told about the changes last night. Marinakas probably said to him,
Well, he basically said that.
You cannot.
He said that.
Yeah, you cannot play these certain players. These need to be rested. Staying up is far more important than winning Europa League.
He said, for me, it's a pity that I need to make these decisions, not to just think about this game, but the next 2 games. I need to think about it because it's important for the club. Of course, the Europa League is important for the club, but the Premier League is more important for the club. I believe to play on our level and compete in every way I want to compete, we need to be fresh mentally and physically. If we were in a safe position in the Premier League table, it would have been completely different. Marinakis wants to keep the club in the Premier League first of all, and then try to compete in the Europa League. So the priorities are clear.
Yeah, and that's sensible.
Yeah.
It's all about Premier League survival. I think the big tragedy to this season, if you're a Nottingham Forest fan, they've waited 30 years to get back in Europe, and they're in the quarterfinals, and that is something to be celebrated. But the fact they've been so poor in the league, the fact they've had 4 different managers, has taken a big gloss, a big shine off this European journey.
It is. 9 teams through to the knockout stages of European competition. 5 of them made it through. Well done to those. This is talkSPORT. We'll talk about an actual cup final next.
Aston Villa, 40 goals.
I saw that, mate.
That's incredible, Ali. That's the same as Spurs.
Wow.
Leeds United have scored 37. West Ham have scored 36. But 40 goals for Aston Villa. And yesterday, Watkins, no confidence. When he gets 1v1, he had a chance to get past Maguire, loses the ball. Rodgers was giving the ball away a bit too much yesterday. Buendia offers 0. Leon Bailey comes on, offers less than 0.
I know, mate.
And a lot of the players that are playing at the moment, Ali, have been at the club for far too long.
Yeah.
And that was the oldest, by the way, Mr. McCoist. Aston Villa fielded their oldest starting 11 since 2012.
Was it really?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm loving more than anything? Not even that start. I'm just loving your preparation to know that start, mate. You're all
Ali,
over it, mate.
29 years of age was the average age of Aston Villa starting 11, and that's not like Villa.
No, mate. No.
Abraham comes on, doesn't look like the Tammy Abraham of old. I think they've got a lot of problems, Ali, and John McGinn, big plus while he was on the pitch, him being back. Tielemans might be back after the international break. But when I look at the squad of players that we've got, Ali, Sancho wasn't available last night. Apart from Rodgers, I don't see a player who can get past the man.
I know what you mean.
I've been having this conversation with so many people. And I go back to my time, Ali. I wasn't a great finisher. But you know what I could do, Ali? I could get past the player.
Yeah, and
I'll get 1v1. I'm taking you on every time.
Gabby, that's what I've said. It's the most important thing in the game, man.
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines are just coming up to 1 minute past 12. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. Thomas Tuchel's explained that massive 35-man England squad. 11 trusted lieutenants will get the week off as he looks at 19 outfield players and 4 keepers for the Uruguay game. Why has he done that?
To give these players a real chance to impress, to give the players a real chance to compete for minutes and for minutes against Uruguay.
If the World Cup was next week, these 11 would be on the plane. Dean Henderson, Dan Burn, Mark Gahey, Esri Konsa, Nico O'Reilly, Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane and Bukayo Saka. They'll all come in on Saturday. Meanwhile, Tuchel admits he hasn't spoken to Trent Alexander-Arnold but knows what he can provide. Meanwhile, the most surprising selection was 35-year-old Brighton keeper Jason Steele. Here's Tuchel on that.
England has a history of taking 4 goalkeepers to the tournament, which makes absolutely sense. And we identified Jason to be a very, very good candidate for this role.
And of course, there was a question about 16-year-old Max Dowman's chances.
At the moment, I think he's in a good place to fight for his position, fight for his minutes at Arsenal. We always have the chance to call him maybe up for the World Cup. The thing with young players is to keep their momentum.
So it looks like an experimental 11 for the Uruguay game live on talkSPORT next Friday, and more of a first 11 to face Japan live on talkSPORT a week on Tuesday. In other news, Joey Barton's been denied bail. He's been in police custody for 10 days now after being charged with assault near a golf course in Liverpool. Loads more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
The number of cases linked to a meningitis outbreak in Kent has risen by 2 to 29, and average energy bills are predicted to go up by £300 a year this summer. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. The tyre transfer window is hotting up and we've signed a multi-generational talent with Continental Tyres. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Fine day and warm for most of us, except the far north and northwest, where it's turning cloudier with patchy rain. Staying warm and sunny into the weekend as well. talkSPORT, Sam Matterface, Alex Crook, and the Crook, the Crookmeister. He's the Crookmeister, and Gabby Agbonlahor. We're here through until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and this weekend, what a weekend we've got for you on live football. Tonight we've got Bournemouth against Manchester United. I'll be going down there straight after we finish here. Tomorrow, Brighton against Liverpool at lunchtime tomorrow night.
You doing that one as well, Brighton?
No.
Oh, you're not doing that?
Someone else has got a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many shows have you done this week? Martin Keown's getting a right and he keeps texting me. Oh my God, Gabby's on the radio again. And Crook's done more podcasts than there is on the Spotify app.
Fiery Friday's out today. All Access podcast out today.
Yeah, anything else?
Inside Devils.
Let's talk about the big one on Sunday, because Sunday starts with the midday kickoff between Newcastle United and Sunderland live on talkSPORT, and ends with Arsenal against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final. Darren Bent and Stuart Pearce will be alongside Jim Proudford for that one at 4:30. Is an Arsenal win the first domino in a season for the ages? Gabby?
Listen, Arsenal win this game. I have not been impressed with Manchester City, and he doesn't know his best back four now either, Pep Guardiola. Midweek, Real Madrid, Gahey was dropped. Ruben Diaz was all over the place. He was getting twisted and turned by Vinicius Jr. and by Diaz for most of the game. Kushinov has looked a lot better. His pace could be used on the weekend. Haaland form's not been great. Yes, he scored against Real Madrid. But I look at Arsenal, I look at Arsenal's options, and I think Arsenal beat Manchester City on the weekend.
Statistics would suggest that this is a match that Arsenal should win. They score more goals. They look defensively more robust. They manage games better than Manchester City. We were at the original game this season between the two, and Arsenal were much the better side, but Manchester City did come away with a point in that match. Could you see this being a war of attrition?
Yeah, I can actually. because I think Arsenal have just got this nice habit now at the business end of the season of grinding out results. I think defensively they're in much better shape than Manchester City. So I agree with Gabby. I think it's going to be a victory for Arsenal and potentially the first step on the road to that quadruple.
What does that mean, though, if they win that? I asked the question at the top of the chat, which was, is this the first domino to fall for Arsenal?
I think...
Can they go on and win
100%.
4 trophies, 3
100%.
trophies, 2 trophies?
I've said it for weeks. Listen, the hardest one is obviously going to be the Champions League. The Premier League's won. I think they beat Manchester City on the weekend. They've got a favourable draw in the FA Cup as well.
Southampton away?
Yes. The Champions League is the one. Yes, Bayern Munich, they can meet, can't they? It will be a tough game, but I back Arsenal to win all 4. I just think they've got such a strong squad of players. I was looking earlier, Sam and Alex, I think they've got 4 better centre-halves than Man City have. Hincapie, Mascara, start for Manchester City. I really think they're that good. Never mind talk about Gabriel and Saliba.
Well, they're the most balanced squad in the country, and I think we've said that for a very long time. But it's starting to show, I think, towards the end of the season, that they've also got a lot better mentality than they've had in previous seasons, Crook.
Yes, no question about that. And obviously they would have used the disappointment of a couple of runners-up finishes to spur them on. I agree with Gabby. I think the Premier League is done. Even if they were to come off the bridle, which I'm not sure they will, I don't think Manchester City are good enough to capitalise. That FA Cup game, this might come back to haunt me, but I don't think that's as big a tap-in as people think. You look at Arsenal against Mansfield, the game that you did. They conceded first against Portsmouth as well. No disrespect because they're massive rivals, but Southampton are much better than Portsmouth. Tonderecker took it very seriously in that game that we covered at Fulham. So I do think actually that FA Cup game is a potential banana skin.
But do you think if they win the Carabao Cup, look where they are in the Premier League, do you think they're really going to slip up? Listen, it happens.
Depends what comes. Is that a Champions League week following?
It is, and also the other thing is it's straight off about the international break. So it's a 7:30 kickoff, Saturday night live on talkSPORT. All the quarterfinals of the FA Cup live on talkSPORT, including that big one between Manchester City and Liverpool. That's in the evening of the first weekend back over after the international break.
Ahead of Sporting Lisbon the following week.
Ahead of Sporting the following week.
It won't be easy, will it? But if you are a bookies, you're going to say, will Arsenal go through against Southampton? Of course they will, even if players are injured and players are tired from international duty. They've got so many options. Madueke is struggling to get a bit of game time in recent weeks. You know, look at Max Dowman, didn't come on midweek in the Champions League. They've got so many options. Ben White can't get a game. Mascara's coming on for Timber. Ben White can't get any minutes.
The other reason I think
it's
a potential upset is because Scott Minto brought this up on the All Access podcast yesterday when Manchester City were going for the quadruple, ended up winning 3 trophies. Who stopped them winning the quad?
Manchester United cookies?
Southampton. Nathan Jones. They beat them in the League Cup.
Yeah, and also when the first season they were going for the quadruple, if you remember, big talk about it when they played Wigan on a Monday night in the FA Cup 5th round. They lost to Will Grigg.
They did.
And Wigan.
On fire that night.
Yes.
So there's always a potential for a slip up. And actually,
20-1 now.
I don't think they'll win all 4.
Winning the quadruple was ridiculous. It's never been done before, right? Okay, so it's obviously impossible to achieve. And if you do it, my God, do you deserve a gold star on the side of your shirt? Yes, you do, because it's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
However, do I think they'll do it? No. But I do think they've got a great chance of getting 3 trophies.
And what would be a bigger achievement? Winning a treble this season or the Invincibles?
Oh, without doubt, the treble. If they win 3 cups this season, that's a bigger achievement. If they win the Champions League, it blows everything else out of the water. They've never done that before.
Exactly.
They've got Chelsea sniping at them, saying that they're the only club in London that's ever won the Champions League. How many teams in the Premier League have won the Champions League?
Aston Villa, Manchester United, Manchester City,
and Chelsea.
Yep.
In the
Forest,
Nottingham
Forest
Champions League. We're not talking about ancient history.
Okay, so what if they change the name of the Champions League next couple of years?
This winding you up. Don't bite. Don't bite.
But I do think as well, though, this Arsenal.
You were alive in
1982. I was minus 4 years of age, but we won't go into it.
That was the year I was born.
This Arsenal side now, though, they need to make the most of this season.
Yeah.
Because every team's going to get stronger, Sam. Real Madrid will get stronger. Bayern Munich will get stronger. Chelsea, Liverpool will get stronger. Manchester United will get stronger getting into the Champions League. So they will know the mentality of that football club now. Let's go and try and win every single trophy.
Can I ask you another question? Because you mentioned him, and he obviously isn't firing as he was previous seasons. Erling Haaland, 6 visits to Wembley.
Yes.
Never scored. Scott Minto on our podcast yesterday, All Access podcast, available wherever you get your podcast. He was saying...
Where's it available?
He was saying,
where's that QR code?
He was saying that as a striker, that wouldn't enter his head. I think it would.
100%, because how many strikers have we spoke about ever retired and we're like, they weren't a big game player, didn't win, didn't turn up at big moments in finals, and he's got to do more. When I watch him now, Crookie, he's not getting involved with play. The top strikers I think about, legends like Thierry Henry, R9, Ronaldo, sometimes make their own goals, come and receive it, take all players on, 1-2, go make your own goal. Haaland sometimes...
Well, he has done that in the past.
Waiting. But at the moment,
Let's
he's
not
not
pretend
doing
that
it.
he
But
has.
do you know why I think it's in his head? You go back to the FA Cup final last season when they got that penalty.
Yeah.
He didn't take it. Marmoush took it, didn't he?
Against Palace, yeah, but Henderson saved it.
Yep.
Is that because he knows he's never scored at Wembley?
I'd hope not, because he looks like he is a player with a very good mentality.
Why would you not take a penalty in the cup final?
I know, mate, but I just look at this game on the weekend, Crookie and Sam, and I just look at, I can't see past an Arsenal win. I think it's going to be feisty on that touchline as well. Arteta, Guardiola, obviously friends. But if Man City do lose this game, I think Manchester City don't win another trophy this season.
Do you know what? Not only do I think Arsenal will win, I think they might win with a little bit in hand.
Yeah.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
'Cause no one knows who's going to
that?
start in the defence of Manchester City. Is it Kushnerov and Diaz? Is it Gay and Diaz? Just on John Stones come in. Who's playing right back? Kushnerov or Nunes? You want Kushnerov at right back because of Martinelli's speed. Yeah. Who's playing left back? Is it O'Reilly? Is it Aït-Nouri? With Arsenal, you pretty much know their starting team.
But also,
not only do you
City
know,
are capable of being rolled over. They were rolled over in Madrid. They got rolled over in the Manchester derby. Arsenal don't have that in their locker. What you know about Arsenal is they're not going to implode defensively.
What do you think about Victor Gyökeres now, bearing in mind that he's scored 16 goals this season for Arsenal?
I think he's got a limit as a striker. It hasn't changed my opinion. Yes, he scored goals. When I look at the standard of most of the goals that he scored...
He got the goal that turned the tide against Everton.
Great goal, wasn't it?
He got a very important goal against Tottenham.
What was the goal against Everton? Was it a bicycle kick or a tap-in?
Well, is that those the only ones that count?
No, I'm just saying.
Do they count double?
Will Gyökeres ever be an elite striker? No, he won't. Will he do a job for Arsenal? Is he aggressive? Is he good at holding the ball up? Would he get in and around the box and score goals? Yes, he will. But he's never going to be a top striker like a Haaland, you know, like a Van Persie, like a Thierry Henry, these legends, Aguero of the Premier League.
Why?
I don't think he has it in his locker. I really don't. I just don't think when I watch him, you know, he's not got that yard of pace. He's not very good at making his own goals with a little bit of brilliance. I just think he's a limited striker for me.
Interesting.
If I'm being honest.
03717223344. That's the number to call if you want to get in touch on Arsenal. And what about Pep Guardiola? Because bearing in mind, this could be the last time we see him at Wembley. He'll be wanting to go out with a bang. If indeed that is the case, there's no
Especially
confirmation
against Arsenal.
Especially against Mikel Arteta, who obviously used to be very much second place to Guardiola. That's changed, hasn't it, over the last couple of seasons? Arteta seems to have had Guardiola's measure a little bit more. You're right, he's got a great record in this competition. I think he's won it 4 times. Is he looking for a 5th League Cup, Guardiola?
I have to be careful what I say, because when I said he's turned into a checkbook manager, you like had a go at me. But the way Manchester City are performing this season, the way they capitulated against Real Madrid, the way they're Arsenal going to win the league title, if they don't win a trophy this season, that's not good enough.
I think
for the money you spent.
when we bit back at you for suggesting that Pep Guardiola was a checkbook manager, Pep Guardiola also bit back at you as well. Not you in particular, but those who gave him criticism after they went out of the Champions League this week. And he was talking basically about the fact that, you know, the amount of trophies that he won at Barcelona when he first came along, nowadays everybody just expects him to win every trophy that is available. And if he doesn't, it's a failure. It's not a good, well done job. It's a failure. And this is where we're at as a football society, I think. We either think that people are brilliant and fantastic or they're rubbish.
Do you know what?
There's no in between. There's no.
I don't think they should win every trophy. I just look at the way that, like, in a big knockout game against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, you go and play 2 centre midfielders. Very, very odd tactics. Semenyo behind Haaland. Savinho, who's not playing much football this season. His tactics sometimes in big games.
That's completely different to your accusation that he'd become a checkbook manager.
No, I mean, he spent a lot of money at Manchester City.
Yeah, well, he has. Everybody has.
Recent years, he spent a lot.
Liverpool spent 450 million.
I think he should be doing better for what he spent. If you look at Manchester City's bench in the last few games, it's frightening. And this season,
is that not English arrogance to suggest that just because they spent a load of money, they should be doing better against?
You want to
Real
go there?
Madrid?
With English arrogance, you pair. 1 second, let me get my
Not
notes.
pair.
Where's my
fair.
notes? 1 second.
You change your
1
mind every 2
second.
seconds
1
because you
second.
don't like the justification that I gave you for that, but actually you've just used it against Pep Guardiola.
What, that he should be doing better than what he spent?
Absolutely.
But he should be?
Right, so you basically just agreed with me.
Oh, no, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
The money that he spent, he should be doing
And
a
my
lot better.
justification for saying what I said was because they've got the best resources in the
It
world.
was just Manchester City, though. You said that Newcastle would.
That's because 6 of the top 10 richest clubs in the world are English clubs.
You said Newcastle should get through,
They're
and they will
11th.
get through against Barcelona.
I told you the game, and I told you the game plan as well, and what happened exactly as I said. And for 3 of those halves, they were the better team.
What about the other half?
Well, they collapsed.
Okay,
and that was a mistake.
Why
The
did they
same reason
collapse?
Chelsea went out because they made a mistake. Same reason Tottenham went out because they made a mistake. All of the other teams that they played, they scored multiple goals against, which is ridiculous.
Do you think Eddie Howe's tactics were right in the Bernabeu? Going man to man?
I thought the whole thing was spot on until half time. As soon as that Trippier penalty went against them, that was it.
So what, the second half, you thought it was fine?
It was collapsed.
Staying with
Absolutely
man to man.
collapsed. Well, they just collapsed. They lost their head.
What did you think of Adrian Durham's comments after the game when he said
I
that?
didn't hear them.
Didn't you hear
I was
them?
working.
He said that he should offer his resignation.
That again is a ridiculous thing to say about a manager who's taken them from relegation to last 16 in the Champions League.
7-2 though.
What was the Chelsea score?
I was going to say it's not a Newcastle problem, is it? And actually,
what was the Tottenham score?
When you said about
what was the City score?
7-2 though.
But when you said about
one game,
when you said about English
what was
arrogance,
the Bayern Munich score?
There was a little bit of English arrogance on evidence, I think, in these Champions League ties, because when it comes to technical ability, that isn't necessarily the strength of the Premier League. I think we should have been a bit more attritional as a unit. Obviously, Arsenal did that and did the job very well. Liverpool beat Galatasaray well enough. But if you go back even to the Jose Mourinho approach to the Champions League, certainly the Sir Alex Ferguson one, away from home, 0-0 is a good result.
Agreed.
Tottenham and Manchester City blew themselves out of the ties, and Chelsea, before they even got to the home leg. So I do think there was a bit of arrogance there.
I just don't think with that back four that he played, Eddie Howe, Trippier, Chow, Dan Burn and Lewis Hall.
Why are you trying to sack an English manager?
No, I think he's done fantastic, Eddie Howe. I know he's your mate, guys. I'm a big fan of Eddie Howe. You know, I love Bournemouth as well, like Mr. Eddie. But I just think going man for man with those players, especially Trippier at right back, I'm just not sure it works.
Okay, if you want to slap a good coach for the sake of it,
he's
crack
picking on
on.
the wrong man. You know, in Newcastle were always second favourites against Barcelona.
Of course.
I would look more at Pep Guardiola. I would look more at Liam Rossini because those were ties that I think were winnable.
Did you think that? Do you agree with Liam Rossini being under pressure, Sam?
No. I don't think he's the reason they lost it. I think that's again a bit like the same situation with Newcastle. Is that it's a wider context. Newcastle in the middle of an evolution. They were relegation candidates 4 years ago. Now they're winning trophies and playing in the Champions League.
You need to get the first goal as well. You can't make that mistake.
That was the Champions League last 16. As much as you can legitimately criticise them for being naive in that second half of the second leg, you have to recognise the astonishing climb that the football club have made during that period. And with Liam Rossini, he's been there since January. The recruitment is the problem at Chelsea.
Yes.
And once you fix that, then you can test to see whether or not he's that good. We'll come back in just a second.
The problem when they won the Mickey Mouse Cup.
Oh.
03717223344. The good news is that they did win a cup last season. Didn't just get to the final and freeze. This is talkSPORT.
How have they gone from Club World Cup champions to men against boys? Because that's what that was.
Well, some would argue that was a game where PSG were not the PSG of the cup final that they played 2 months earlier. in the Champions League, or a slightly under-aroused PSG that might have not been as motivated by this tournament. Danny will have you believe that this is a meaningless tournament that has no merit in it whatsoever. So when you're comparing the efficacy of a World Club Championship against the deep-seated meaning and the orthodoxy of the Champions League, you might be comparing apples with oranges.
I think, to be fair to Chelsea, in isolation, this two-legged tie against PSG, for 65 minutes in the first leg, Chelsea were really good and competitive, yeah? And there wasn't that much between the two teams. The obvious lack of experience as centre-half and the problems at goalkeeper are evident, and Cara spoke about this on the night brilliantly. This has been coming. You know, they're not great defensively. They have moments where they can concede chance after chance. Some that's not been addressed for a while, since Thiago Silva's left. Now, 2 games against Arsenal, they've lost. 2 games against PSG, they've lost. There's a gap, no doubt. The disappointing thing, I think, is more so, and where the disgruntlement has come from a group of Chelsea fans, or some, is Leeds at home, draw. Burnley at home, draw. Newcastle at home, lose. That is a build-up of poor performances and bad discipline and sendings off.
Yeah.
And the question marks are inevitable. The question marks are inevitable when you have a run of form where you're not beating the likes of Leeds and Burnley at home and you're getting spanked by PSG.
So you say there's a gap. How big is the gap? And why is there still a gap? Because they're 4 years into this project.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How do you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It's talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Gabby Agbonlahor. We're here right the way through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. Let's hear from Thomas Tuchel, who's been speaking to our England correspondent, Faye Carruthers, in the last few moments. And she started by asking Thomas Tuchel about the players that weren't joining up to Saturday. She said, do you think they'll be experiencing a little bit of FOMO?
I think a little bit, but I explained why we do it. We have just proof of minutes that they have over 3,000. They have played in the complete last season, which are just some red flags for me as a coach, that the level of mental and physical fatigue is creeping in, and it increases also the risk of being fatigued, being not on your top level, but also of injuries. So I want to give them the opportunity to rest a little bit mentally, physically, and then come with hunger and excitement for the second match against Japan. I think we will benefit from it short term, because I expect them to come with excitement and hunger into a short camp and straight away raise the level and set the standards and have a good match against Japan. Because we played two complicated teams, two very strong teams. We need everyone fully motivated and on high level performances. So that was the thinking behind it. We wanted also to have some new faces in camp. We wanted to also pay tribute to the fact that it's last camp before the World Cup. I wanna see some players. I wanna invite players who fight actually for their ticket, and not get confused between some players resting and training and some players fighting. And competing. So the first part of the camp until the Uruguay match is a camp under the headline "The competition is still on and again on." Try to impress, try to and get a fair chance. So I think a small group of 19 players plus goalkeepers gives also us the chance to actually coach them well, to be connected, to not lose focus. And so I'm also excited to have 4 training sessions and the match with a new kind of group of players.
That 11. Would it be fair to say, when you look at it and you named them earlier on, it sounds to me as if they're 11 who have definitely got their plane ticket already?
If the plane was leaving next week, they would be on the plane, but the plane is not leaving next week, so they have to be on their toes. They have to make sure they earn it month after month.
With the players that you've not called up, we've spoken about Ollie Watkins, Luke Shaw, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Have you spoken to all 3 of them? I mean, obviously you've not had Luke in your squad before, or Trent. Do they think that's it, their World Cup is over? Or have you said to them there is still an opportunity for you, or are they so far down in the pecking order in terms of their position?
No, they're not. And every case is individual, and they know that they're on the long list, and they know that whoever is on the long list has a chance to come to the World Cup. This is not a pre-decision. This is just a decision now for this camp. The competition on their positions is on. They're like different profiles. There are different reasons why we take and stick with other players. I know that it's tough decisions. I know that it's prominent names. I know they're full of talent. But I feel also that I know what they can give us. I saw them in tournaments for England. I saw them with us in camp. The exception is Luke. He was not in camp. So, of course, he's upset. And, of course, he feels that it's slightly unfair. And maybe it is. But it comes with a job. I have to make some decisions. I still feel that I know what Luke could give us, and I still made the decision to stick with Nico O'Reilly, Chad Spence and Tino Livramento, who deserve to be in camp because of September, October, November.
Have you actually spoken to Trent Alexander-Arnold about it and said, keep getting this consistency?
Not yet.
You haven't spoken to him at all?
Not yet.
Okay. How do you think he might feel with that? Does he feel his England career might be over then?
I don't know.
Moving on to other players, Harry Maguire brought back in.
Yeah.
You know about his character and why did you want to bring him back in?
Well, first of all, he deserved to be back in because he plays a key role in the momentum that Man United has as a team, and during the last weeks, he has, on top of that, of course, excellent history with England, but he has a super weapon regarding set pieces, defensively and offensively, and now is the last chance to actually get to know him, see him in camp, see how he adapts to the role. With the players around him and with the players, of course, in his positions that are maybe slightly ahead of him in our ranking. But like I said, he has a superpower and a super strength regarding set pieces, defensively and offensively. And I don't want to miss out to get to know him and have the chance to get the full picture and to make a decision in May.
That was Faye Carruthers speaking to the England head coach, Thomas Tuchel. And it was interesting, that exchange, wasn't it? Most importantly, because of the way he answered the discussion about Trent Alexander-Arnold. It was very short, very sharp. He's been very expressive with the way he's answered most questions. But that question in particular, it was no. I haven't spoken to him. Does he think that his career is over with England? And he said, I don't know. And then it was very quickly moved on.
That says a lot to me. To say that he doesn't know and to say no, he hasn't spoken to him, not even that, like, I've tried to get hold of him, whatever, that says to me that Trent will not play.
Is that weird, bearing in mind that he also revealed literally an hour ago that Fikayo Tomori is someone he's been on the phone to every month as in England
He
squad,
speaks to players a lot, Sam.
explaining to him about it. And he does speak to players.
Sam,
I've seen
you
him
can't,
do it.
You can't get him off the
tunnel at
phone,
Old
apparently.
Trafford.
You can't
He's
get him off the phone.
always there talking to the England players in the tunnel.
Yep. And that just shows that Trent is not in his plans no matter what. With Reece James being injured and not available, to not make a 35-man squad, just says it all. But does he have to speak to him? Does he have to speak to every player that doesn't make the squad? It's not like he's played a lot under him.
The one thing you would say is that he's got a lot of people to speak to and he's going to prioritise the ones that he thinks he's going to use. So that probably is an indication that he's not going
Maybe
to.
Watkins he's spoken to because he's been in a lot of his squads.
Maybe. 03717223344 is the number to call if you want to get in touch. This is Talk Sport. Still got a lot to talk about. Big game tonight. Bournemouth against Manchester United.
How do you feel that Jamie's wearing your mask? How do you feel about that?
I can't even see him. I can't see him.
I haven't got the mask on. I haven't got the mask on.
Fully got it on.
See it.
Breathing in there, the lot.
Do you know what? All I can say is I wish I had the mask on now.
To be fair, you look like Ange.
It's just who we are, mate.
Your team play like
Seriously though, mate.
Can we end it now?
Mate. You've turned into a meme club, you are.
Can we end this interview now?
No.
Hold on, say that again.
You've turned into a meme football club.
I remember. I mean, the last week, I don't think I've ever known a week like it, right? So you go back to Wednesday of last week and 74 minutes on the clock, and you think about what's happened. Conceded 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Slap.
Jesus Christ. Listen,
has anyone seen Candy? Dennis Wise?
Right, okay, hold on.
Solar.
Yeah, hold on.
Listen, who's that? Who's that?
No, leave it, man. Leave it. No, you swear. No, I'm doing it. No.
But did you think you would come from 3-0 down? Did he think he'd come from 3-0 down?
He was confident. It was encouraging signs, he said.
You're PSG.
I'm a United fan.
He's a bloody United fan.
Hey!
Don't swear.
Come on, boys. Listen, at the end of the day.
Hold on, who are you playing in the Champions League?
No, listen. Who's going to play next year? Who's going to play next year?
Champions League. I'm getting sick of United fans.
A whopping 35 England players have been named in Thomas Tuchel's final squad before the World Cup selection. No Ollie Watkins, no Max Dowman, no Luke Shaw, but Calvert-Lewin is in, and Kobbie Mainoo is as well, and Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire's never let England down. I know there's been a lot of criticism at club level, but he's back in the United side, playing regularly. enjoying his football. And I've always been a supporter of Maguire.
5 goalkeepers, including Brighton's Jason Steele. He hasn't played in the Premier League all season.
You've got Carl Rushworth, England under-21 international, the best goalkeeper in the Championship at Coventry. I know for a fact that Frank Lampard has held conversations with the England goalkeeper coach about Carl Rushworth. Surely that would be better if you're going to take 5 goalkeepers to plan for the future.
Now, they might be in a relegation scrap, but Ryan Yates told TNT Forest are still dreaming of winning the Europa League.
Shout out to the fans, especially the ones that have travelled here, spending a lot of money, a difficult time for many people. From minute one, they really helped us. And, it took us penalties, but we're through, and that's all that matters.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan's made snooker's biggest ever break, 153 in the World Open. The Rocket snookered Ryan Day to get a free ball before reeling off the 15 reds, 13 extra blacks and 2 pinks before polishing off the colours. There's more, as ever, at talkSPORT.com.
Win a VIP trip to the British Grand Prix on talkSPORT.
Hey, talkSPORT, and listen up if you're an F1 fan. We're down to the final day, and we want to send you and a mate to Silverstone on July the 5th for a British Grand Prix experience like no other. Forget general admission, nothing like that. We're putting you right at the heart of the action with the full Racing Green trackside experience. Experience F1 the best possible way. You're getting exclusive grandstand seats plus inner track access to watch the drivers all in action in the paddock. We've got the whole day sorted for you, all day street food, a fully open bar and more. It ends today at 4 o'clock. Here's how to enter. All you have to do is just text WIN to 83338. That's WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate. You can call 0343418 7260. Lines close today at 4 o'clock. That's when you'll need to answer the phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. It's a network promotion. Full T's and C's are available at talksport.com. So if you want that chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now. Okay, time we're Derby on Sunday, midday, live on talkSPORT. It's available on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your radio providers from. You might be listening on your talkSPORT connected TV app. You might be listening on your good old DAB digital radio. Domestic indifference has been a bit of a problem, though, for Newcastle United. So how does Eddie Howe put it right? Let's hear from him in the build-up to the game.
Yeah, we've got a bit of work to do, I think, psychologically with the players off the back of what was a really strange game to digest and review. I think the players will hopefully have learnt from a lot of similar games this season, you know, in the respect that we've had an incredible group of games where we've had to leave one game very quickly and focus on the next. That's a sort of a skill, I think, to be able to do that, to park it and move on to the next one. We're going to have to do that really quickly for this one and effectively, because the game will be on us before we know it. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff, very quick turnaround. So a bit of work to do today and tomorrow with the players, but I think by kickoff we'll be fine.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do psychologically, he says, with the players, Gabby. But they're only 7 points off a Champions League place. Not that much of a disaster, is it?
Well, they've got to go and put a run of fixtures now together, run of wins together, sorry. But I'll just look at some of their players, Sam, and Eddie Howe will know. I look at Visser. You know, he's bringing on Osalu now before Wissa. who's 30 in September, £55 million he cost, 1 goal in 12 Premier League appearances. Voltemada, it's not worked for me, 7 goals in 26 Premier League appearances. Alanga, 0 goals in 26 Premier League appearances. So a lot of the budget in the summer, the players haven't really performed to the levels that you would have hoped. If they start turning up, Newcastle will win a lot more games.
Well, that's the reasons, but can they put a run together is the question.
I think it's difficult. I think it's been a difficult season for Newcastle, as Gabby's alluded to. I think the summer was a bit of a disaster in terms of the Isak situation. Hung over them for far too long just to sell him towards the end of the window, last day of the window. I think they missed out, obviously, on a lot of top targets. They were in for Ekitike and Sheshko and Brian Mbumo as well. You think if they got any of those players, it would have made a huge difference to their attack, because Nick Voltemada, after a good start, I think he's struggling now. Is he a 9? Is he a 10? Obviously, wasn't a starter at all in midweek. So I'm not sure you can turn it on for the final 8 games of the season.
Are you not? Look, let me make a case here. They've got Sunderland at the weekend. If they get a positive result there, they go into a 3-week break because they're not involved in the FA Cup. They get to replenish themselves, get ready, and then go again for the final 7 matches of the season, which are Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Fulham.
It's not the most arduous of run-ins, is it?
There is a chance that they can put together a very good run after that 3-week break and challenge for a place, not necessarily in the Champions League, but in European competition.
And despite Gabby trying to get Eddie Howe to sack, if they did get into Europe, as you say, last 16 of the Champions League, semi-finals of the League Cup, that would be a good season.
But the Newcastle, though, Newcastle, where they want to be and where they want to go, have to be playing Champions League football next season.
Well, I think the quote is that they want to be competing for the top prizes in world football in 2030. It's 2026. That means they've got 4 years to do it, and they're already competing for.
Will Gamirez be there next season if they're not in the Champions League?
Maybe.
I think that Manchester United stuff has been a little bit exaggerated this week. I think you'll find it's come out from the Bruno Guimaraes camp.
So you don't think
New
that
contract.
World Cup coming, he's not going to want to be playing Champions League football?
I think it's far more likely that Tonali leaves in the summer than Guimaraes.
And look, they're always going to be in a situation when you're a successful football club that have moved very quickly, accelerated from being relegation candidates to being in the Champions League.
I think as well,
the best players is going to get sought out.
I think, like you said there, Chelsea play Everton away. That could easily be a defeat for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Newcastle win. They're 3 points behind Chelsea, so it's still a chance, of course.
Why are you smiling?
If the season finished...
If Aston Villa don't win this weekend, aren't they? They're going to be vulnerable as well, fella.
But if the season finished tomorrow and Newcastle finished 9th, is that a disaster? I mean,
it's not a disaster.
You're talking about Champions League football, right? Do you expect Newcastle at the start of the season to finish above Arsenal?
No.
Man City?
No.
Manchester United, with all the money
Miles
that
ahead
United
of them.
spent, all the money that United spent.
How poor they had been.
Liverpool, Chelsea. You're not expecting them to get Champions League football. The fact that they've done it twice over the last 4 years is remarkable. The fact is that they're in a transition season this year. They lost their best player. The new players that have come in haven't done as well. Visser actually got injured really early in the pre-season.
Before he kicked the ball.
Before he even played for Newcastle. It was an international break in September, actually, he got injured in. That means that he needs a proper pre-season to get himself up to speed. Next season might be different for him. We don't know. But they also need to balance. The problem they've got is that they've got to balance the books, find a way of generating more revenue so that they can spend more money to bolster that squad and get more quality into that.
They've won more games in the Champions League this season than in any other previous Champions League campaign in their history.
Used to are right. Sorry, I know Eddie Howe's your mate. So
I just
do that. It's just perspective.
Sometimes you need,
guys.
perspective is the
Sorry,
word.
guys, I know he's your mate. I apologise.
It's just perspective.
Losing 7-2, no problem. It's okay. Adrian Durham, his words.
So in your view, are you suggesting now that Eddie Howe should walk away at the end of the season? So what are you saying then?
Not at all. I'm saying that it's not been good enough in the league.
But it's not been a disaster.
Not a disaster,
It's not been good enough in the league. They've won 6 of their last 11 games.
Okay, but I'm saying for Newcastle, they want to be getting back-to-back Champions League football. That's what they want.
I think that's not a realistic ambition. It's not realistic. I've just listed the teams they won't finish above.
With Liverpool,
but then you
with
forget about
Man United, Man City,
yes,
Arsenal.
they sold Isak. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But like the players that they've brought in, I'll say only Jacob Ramsey has worked. Alanga hasn't worked. 0 goals in 26 Premier League.
He scored 2 goals in a new camp about 4 days ago.
2 tap-ins. Wissa hasn't worked. No Premier League goals. Voltemada, what did I say earlier?
This is
7 Premier League
this is
goals.
all a direct result of the Isak situation. If you're going to look for a scapegoat, I'd blame the owners. They sold Isak on the last day of the transfer window. They should have got that deal done much earlier in the window.
Yeah.
It would have enabled them to properly plan and replace Alexander.
Ekitike
You can have a bad season.
It was
if I
all a
remember
bit
rightly,
panicked.
you will go back to your time when you were at Aston Villa.
Yes.
You had a series of seasons when you finished where? 6th?
We did, yes, Sam, we did.
6th, and you didn't go to the next level, did you? And then you dropped quite quickly, didn't you?
Sold.
Why was that?
Players.
Right, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
What I'm saying is Newcastle were playing in Champions League this season. Ekitike turned them down. Isak was dying to go. If they don't play Champions League football next season, are they going to attract the players that they need to?
They're not going
That's a different question.
They're not going to attract the players anyway. If you're Ugo Ekitike, you're always going to choose Liverpool over Newcastle. If you're Brian Mbumo or Benjamin Šeško, you're always going to choose Manchester United.
Is that going to be a problem?
Over Newcastle. It is a problem.
Well, it's always been a problem for Newcastle, and also geographical location is a bit of a problem for.
What's wrong with it, Sam?
There's nothing. We absolutely love it, and we'd go up there all the time if we could, because the atmospheres they're better than most.
Historically, they've struggled to attract.
Historically, they've always had that situation where you've got some players who just a little bit sort of, I want to be in London, want to be in Manchester, that sort of thing. It's a bit like you, really, to be honest with you. Just wanted to be in Birmingham. 03717 22 33 44. Come for Wednesday.
I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry, Eddie.
This is Sam Matterface, Alex Crook, and Gabby, and we're here through till 1 o'clock with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deal at selcobw.com.
You feel that Arne Slot is getting his excuses in early before they meet PSG?
I just think that ultimately Liverpool have had a great result and well done them. And you know, people suggesting that Arne Slot was under pressure for this game, they've come out and smashed Galatasaray.
Right.
Fantastic. But I don't like managers building in some comfort zone into... There's no need to build up PSG as a boogeyman. There's every suggestion that you shouldn't be sitting there on television like I was advocating for a moment ago saying, we're going to smash PSG, because I know that puts you as a hostage to fortune.
Right.
But there's no need to start building in how good PSG are, what they are and what they're not. Who cares? How good are you and what do you do? And there's no need to build in the fact that you're playing Brighton on Saturday at 12:30, because, by the way, Brighton haven't got the same sort of squad as you got.
All right.
So,
I mean, but surely last night against Galatasaray, it was a near-perfect performance. Is that not what Liverpool fans worldwide have been calling out for? And is it going to go anyway to calming the Slot sceptics, of whom there are many? Ian, big Liverpool fan, you're first up again. What would you like to say? Good morning.
Hi, lads. Okay.
Good, Ian.
I totally agree with Simon. He's getting like a buffer in place there before we play them. He shouldn't be saying things like that. We should just we're playing PSG. They're a good side. They won it last year, but at the end of the day, you know, we're Liverpool Football Club, and what we've got to do is just get at them and the same type of tempo we played last night. That's what we need even more. So I totally agree with Simon. Sometimes in some of his language he says on the interviews, it does sound like he's getting his excuses in early, and it gets on my nerves. You know, he fails to realise he's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We've been taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you
get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Inside Series on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Watch the latest Inside Series episode live on talkSPORT's YouTube channel now. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Sorry? Nothing.
What did you say?
What'd you say?
Repeat that, Alex?
No.
Say that to the audience.
Off-record conversation. Well, he's still bleating on about Eddie Howe, and
Well, I'll tell you what we should be talking about is Inside Liverpool, because this week on Inside Liverpool, Jermaine Pennant discussed how Arne Slot needs to stick with the winning formula. That on the latest episode after the Reds' impressive performance this week in the Champions League.
There's no coincidence that that was probably one of our best performances. And this was the first time that starting 11 combined actually started.
The first time all season?
The first time all season.
That's crazy.
That starting 11 has started a game all season. And there's no coincidence that that was our best performance because players were playing in their right positions. There was no Dominic at right back, no Gakpo out there. As I said, I think he's a good player.
You can't go through a show, can you, without mentioning
No,
that?
Brad, I'm saying that I think we've all been seeing that he's been
he's had a
off
bad
the
season,
boils.
hasn't he?
He's not had a great season. So if you keep putting somebody out there who's not producing in that position, you're going to get the same results. And I think, as a penny finally dropped, OK, we might need to change things a little bit to get more of a tune out of this team. And we saw what we can do.
Don't forget, you can watch the latest Inside Series episodes on talkSPORT's YouTube channel. Now, that's all thanks to BetMGM 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Inside Series on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Watch the latest Inside Series episode live on talkSPORT's YouTube channel now. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Tonight, it's Bournemouth against Manchester United. It's live on talkSPORT. Bournemouth unbeaten in 10, but they have drawn the last 4 games. At the beginning of the season, very different picture for both these two teams. After 9 games, the Cherries were second, and Manchester United were clinging on to a place in the top 10 of the table. Now, United ensconced in third, and Bournemouth just about in the top 10. It's a long season. Has the season kind of petered out for Bournemouth, Alex Crook?
I wouldn't say that.
Bill Foley wanted European football.
Yeah, he didn't say this season. He said if not this season, then soon. So we should caveat that. Again, if they did get in Europe, it'd be a massive overachievement considering the players they sold in the summer. They're having to bring down the wage bill and therefore the age profile of the squad. They're not losing many games, but as you've articulated, they're not winning many either of late. The goals do seem to have dried up, but this is still a tough game for Manchester United. I think it's no wins in the last 5 against Bournemouth. You commentated the game at Old Trafford.
What a brilliant game.
Probably the game of the season, ended 4-4. So looking forward to it. I think a point for United would be a good result.
Talk to me about the 19-year-old Ryan. 2 Premier League goals.
Terrific.
He's been called up to the Brazilian squad.
Terrific,
he'll probably go to the World Cup if he continues his form. How good is he, guys? Because they needed to replace Semenyo, didn't they? Can he be that guy?
Well, you just need to look at the release clause. Eyebrows were raised when we broke it exclusively. There was a release clause in the contract, 100 million euros for a teenager from Brazil. That's how highly they rate him. And I was being told earlier this week that actually some big clubs in Europe have already started to take notice.
Just a quick word on Bournemouth, though. You say about their season, they're not losing many games, but I think go back to last season, same sort of time of the campaign. Everyone was talking about Andoni Iraola, I think, to be the Real Madrid manager at one stage, and talking about how well they were doing. They went on another massive unbeaten run. I think it was something like 12 games or something up until the end of February, the middle of February. And then they completely petered out. Is that an example, or is there a fear that that happens around this time every season because of the fact that he makes them play in a certain manner?
Absolutely. He is very intense in his methods. Obviously, it's a very aggressive style of play. You use a lot of energy, not just on match days, but in training. And the squad is small because they've had to sell players. So it's inevitable they're going to have a bit of a dip, but they're not in any relegation danger. Actually, they were going for a run of games where they weren't winning, and people were saying, well, keep an eye on Bournemouth, they might get dragged into it, and there's no danger of that now.
Well, H&J have just said they're going to be late. Can we stay until 1:10?
Fine.
Look, are you going to be able to handle that?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Manchester United, 22 points from 9 Premier League games under... Listen, you're not allowed to talk about it because you won't give an opinion. No. So if you can't give an opinion on it, you might as well just shut up. 22 points from 9 Premier League games under Carrick. Sorry, listeners, he will not say whether or not he wants Michael Carrick to be the manager because he says it's too early to discuss that. He gives an opinion on everything else after about 3 seconds, but he won't do it on Michael Carrick and Manchester United.
And I won't talk about his predecessor by name.
He won't mention his name, and he's very proud of the fact that he hasn't mentioned his name. How childish is that, by the way? It's like 5. But they're maximising set pieces.
Yes.
Only Arsenal score more than United from dead ball situations, but he's also got the team playing much better as well. Some good football they're playing, Manchester United.
One of the best teams to watch in the Premier League at the moment. You know what you get with them. You know you're going to get Diallo, Mbeumo, Shesko, Cunha, all top attacking players. And Manchester United, let's be honest though, they should be performing like they are. The amount of money they spent in the summer, they spent a lot of money. Lamens, Shesko,
terrific goalkeeper.
15 million, the keeper cost.
Million.
And all of those players have played really well.
Exactly. Premier League experience in Mbeumo and Cunha. And all I think to myself is tonight, I think Bruno Fernandes probably wins the game for Manchester United. And I just feel sorry for him that he could end his Manchester United career winning 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup, no Premier League titles, no Champions Leagues. Bruno Fernandes deserved better in his prime years.
Listen,
what would you give for an FA Cup and a League Cup?
If you want to, by the way, if you want to survive the probationary period, you've got to remember that the brief of the show is Fun Boy Friday. It's not here coming in having a go at everybody and moaning people and trying to cause division. Listen, DC has just texted us. He says, "Why is Gab being an argumentative git? Embracing his inner Martin Keown, he's letting himself down." And Stephen Brett says, "Someone check to see if Gabby has put on his Sunderland underpants and vests this morning." Gabby, could you just stand up in front of the cameras and just show everybody that you've not got... No, actually, don't do that. Right, okay, that's it from us. Remember, tonight, Bournemouth against Manchester United. Tomorrow, Brighton against Liverpool. The Leeds game tomorrow night is live on talkSPORT. And on Sunday, Newcastle against Sunderland and the Carabao Cup final. If you want football, this is the place to be. And H&J are next.
Eddie Howe, you might not have seen it yet, but the Newcastle game was brilliant. Barcelona, I loved it. Yeah. I couldn't get enough of it at half time. And then it went pear-shaped. Of course it did. But Adrian was getting a bit animated, as he does, and he said, "That's it, Eddie's got a hand in his resignation." I'm like, whoa. It was some game, by the way. I mean, some game. Yeah. And also, Pep, we're hearing today that Pep will make up his future, his mind up, after the cup final at the weekend. Are they premature here, both of them? If that's, I don't think Eddie's going to do it anyway, but
no.